You know, in the Great Wilderness Spirit Realm, when Yen Lai infused power into the Sky-Locking Array flag, he took out thousands of top-quality fairy jade, which shows how precious this thing is. If you have these 30,000 pieces of jade, you can not only use your own Skylock Array flag in 8-pole array without worrying about energy. Even if you use the jade to set up the field, it will have a great effect. It is used to arrange the time field. With these top-quality fairy jade, and looking for some higher-level auxiliary materials, Tian is even sure to arrange the time field of 5 times the time flow rate. 5 times the speed of time. Any friar even think about it will be very crazy. Moreover, his own Dun Tiansua also needs the best fairy jade to drive him. In the past, he was afraid to use the best fairy jade because he was worried about the shortage of the best fairy jade. If he had these 30,000 fairy jade, he could drive him recklessly. Well, it's really useful to me, so I'll take it. In this regard, Tian did not refuse, happily accepted. Seeing that Tian had accepted the best fairy jade, Lu Fang took a long breath and said, "In addition, I'm going to send 20 Washinjing people to escort my grandmaster to the spirit realm of Luotian. If possible, go wherever you can." Tian waved his hand this time and refused. "I understand what you mean. However, there are Xuanxie escorts to Luotian Lingyu, and there are branches of Xuanjia in Luotian Lingyu. There should be no problems there. It should not be a problem to enter Taiman Spirit Realm from Luotian Spirit Realm. If the escort is too far away, in case of any accident on the way back, the development of the clan will be affected. If there's any difficulty ahead and I can't solve it, I'll ask you for help through the Xian family. And you all know that I have the means to kill the great friars of Yupu Realm. Although the cost is not small, it is enough to stand up to 20 monks of Huashan Realm." Hearing this, Lu Fang finally nodded. In this case, those clansmen will not let them go together. If the Grandmaster really has any trouble, he can return to the Longsign spiritual realm, and we can work together to find a way. It's a pity that the cultivation of Yupu realm can't pass through the space passage to the spirit realm of Luotian, otherwise the disciples will escort them to it in person. Tian said with a smile, "I naturally know the intention of the Patriarch. Moreover, by my means, the common great friars of Yupu realm can't help it. You can rest assured." Lu Fang also thinks that when Tian killed the great monk of Yupu realm, he observed it through his mind. Although he didn't know what means Tian used to improve his cultivation, he knew that Tian did have such means. Moreover, he never mentioned or even inquired about such mysterious means, which was the greatest taboo of monks. No one would easily touch other people's means to protect their lives, even the closest ones. Seeing that both sides reached an agreement, Tian waved to Ko Yuanshuan in the distance. Ko Yuanshuan had been waiting for him for a long time. He knew that Tian was leaving today and was waiting for his order at any time. Seeing the Grandmaster waving, Ko Yuanshuan let out a long cry, and then flew to Tian. The other 95 Kunlun practitioners also heard the sound and flew to Tian from all over the space. With them came many of the Holy Wing people. Seeing this, Lu Fang made a gesture, and 3 shining balls of light rose up and exploded in the air. It is still the highest level summoning order of the Holy Wing. The summoning order exploded, and the Holy Wing people all over the space rushed here, and soon the whole family gathered here. The 96 people who Tian brought also stood beside Tian, and some sad-faced holy-winged men and women in the crowd were looking at them. "Ladies and gentlemen, I will leave here today and prepare to go to the spirit realm of Luotian. This is the home of the Holy Wing people, and of course, your home. If anyone wants to stay, they can stay here. It's all up to you." Tian's eyes slowly swept many Kunlun repairs and said slowly, "Grandmaster, we will go with you to the spirit realm of Luotian and return to the Earth Star together, which is also our home. There are still 108 people whose life and death are uncertain. I will go back. If you have a chance in the future, come here again and go home again." Ko Yuanshuan said without hesitation. The same is true for the rest of Kunlun Xiu. Even if some people are reluctant to part with their new friends, they do not hesitate to show their attitude. However, the feeling of separation cannot be restrained in this space spread rapidly. The scene calmed down. At this time, Lu Fang looked at the scene in front of him, and suddenly said, "Among the people of our family, those who have Taoist partners here, please come out." Many clansmen looked at each other, and 32 clansmen came out one after another. Lu Fang looked at the 32 people and said, 96 people have come from Zuxing. They have to go back to Zuxing to rescue Zuxing and find the lost people. If any of you would like to go with me, I will allow you to leave. But there is one thing. When you come back, you must bring a few more small people. For a moment, the 32 people looked back at the people behind them. Many of them were their relatives. If they went to the Earth Star all the way, it would be very difficult to return to the Langsang spiritual realm in this space. At this moment, they are unable to make a quick decision. They are in a dilemma. Yi Tian didn't say anything. These are all private matters. Lu Fang made a great sacrifice to allow the 32 people to leave when the number of Xingyi people was so small. For these new friends, the only one who can make a decision is them. Don't have any worries. Go and stay if you want. Moreover, for 50 years at most, I have a hunch that the Holy Wing people will get together again. Moreover, following your ancestors, I think it should be the great fortune of every Holy Wing people. As far as I am concerned, I support you to leave. At that time, our ancestors left from the Earth Star and came here, which made the Xingyi clan strong. Now, your departure may not be another opportunity. Well, that's all I can say. You can decide for yourself. At this time, Lu Fang flew up into the air and said in a dignified voice. After that, he fell down again without saying a word. I want to follow. After counting the breath, a woman finally stood up and came to a Kunlun monk. She was the Taoist partner of this man. I'll go too. The second woman came forward. There's no time for cultivation. 50 years is just a short moment. If you want to go, son, just go and take care of yourself. A middle-aged Saint Wing clansman looked at his son and hesitated, then said, Father, then I'll go with you. The young people suddenly nodded, made up his mind, and came to a woman Kunlun Xiao. Then, under their influence, more and more people went there. When more than half of the people passed by, this matter has come to a natural state. The remaining Holy Wing people no longer need to struggle hard. They bid farewell to their families and come to Yi Tian's camp. Seeing this, Yi Tian's heart was also quite infected. His eyes slowly swept over those holy winged people who had left their hometown and followed Daolf. He nodded slowly and said, since all the people have decided to go with them to the Earth Star, Yi Tian will guarantee that he will protect you. As long as Yi Tian does not die, none of you will fall. There are no saints with high level among them. The highest accomplishments are only in Jindan realm. There are also some in Longmen realm. Even there are 3 saints who view the sea. At this point, Yi Tian motioned, took out the collected cave medicine garden again, lined up 32 caves, and said in a loud voice, although this magic cave is used as a temporary medicine garden, the space inside is very open, and the room layout is very suitable for living. Each couple lives in a cave with twice the time field, which is just suitable for cultivation. Please enter the cave. Yes. After hearing this, many Kunlun practitioners immediately agreed excitedly that living in a single room was a treatment they didn't expect. It's really hard to get such a convenient condition, which is suitable for double or single repair. 32 pairs of holy winged people went to one of the caves respectively, and then Yi Tian put away the magic weapon cave. Until the 32 caves were all closed, Yi Tian waved to the rest of the holy winged people, and then moved to the entrance of the space. Lu Fang and other 18 great friars followed him and left the space. They stood outside the crack of the space. Please come back. Yi Tian nodded slightly. You're welcome, Grandmaster. We have to go to Hucho Gorge. We can't rest assured until we see Grandmaster leave. Lu Fang said without hesitation. Yi Tian knew that these people had made up their mind. I'm afraid it's impossible not to let them go. He didn't insist on it, so he took the lead to fly to the void. After flying far away from the space turbulence and void cracks, he asked Lu Fang to move to Hucho Gorge with him. www.novelhall.com. Outside Hucho Gorge, as soon as Yi Tian and others appeared, several light escapes from the dense clouds of the gorge. Master! Master! The front 2 are Xuanxie and Yunzhong, while the back 5 are Huang Yanqiu, Junxing, Du Mingyue, Xianfeng and Xian. I haven't seen my master come here for such a long time. What's wrong with my master? Xian cracked the color of worry on the face of Flash and then say.
Yi Tian smiles, nods to the crowd, and then says, "Some things delay time. How are you doing?"
All the things have been done, he said.
I have successfully taken over the Xuanmu family. The other 4 ancestors have no different opinions. At present, the whole Xian family has been on the right track, and everything has recovered as before. And family, Jing family and Zhang family in Tianlong City have all been disposed of. The first 2 families were destroyed. The nun named Anya, who was handed over to Du Mingyue, was rebuilt by the ruins and destroyed.
In his own way, I will treat him. The Zhang family only killed the villain who took part in Du Mingyue's affairs, and they didn't get involved too much. Yi Tian nodded after hearing the words. The matter of the Xian family, old 14 is to deal with it by himself. As a teacher, I've calculated recently that there may be a catastrophe in 50 years' time.
You and Lao Shiwu must improve the overall strength of the family as soon as possible to deal with the catastrophe.
Listen to Yi Tian say so. Xian Crack and Cloud Zhong look as a Lin, each other looked at one eye, even claim to be. Yi Tian thinks that no matter whether there will be a catastrophe in the future, there will be no harm in scaring them.
But no one can think of it.
Today, he talks so casually that he can become a shaman.
Yunzhong, what's the situation over there?
Listen to Xian Crack finished Xian family's business. Yi Tian looked to Cloud Zhong again. Yun Zhongjing straightened his shirt and said, I'll tell you, master, that the Yin family has all returned to their hearts. 15 days ago, the inauguration ceremony of the head of the family was held in the Yun family, and everything went well.
The ancestors of the family didn't have any difficulties.
On the contrary, they were very protective of their disciples.
It's a pity that I didn't invite my master to the ceremony. It's a lifelong pity.
That's good. Master also deeply regrets that when you all enter the heavenly palace, Master will celebrate for you.
Yi Tian said with a smile. Sure Fu.
At this time, Xian after the crowd came and saluted Yi Tian.
Then she took Yi Tian's arm and stood beside him intimately. Yes, these days, the atmosphere is much stronger. Keep on working hard. When I see you again in the future, I have to test your level as a teacher.
As soon as Yi Tianlu observed, he encouraged him.
Master, I don't want to stay in Lansong.
I want to go to Earthstar with Master.
Where Master goes, I will go.
Xian shyly smile, but the voice is very stubborn. Yi Tian Wenyan looks at Xin Crack and Yin Zhong. His eyes are also slightly swept by Xin Feng and Du Mingyue. These people are Xian's elders. Xian's going or staying still need to ask these people's opinions. Who knows? Yi Tian's eyes to the place, but see Xian's several elders are smiling at Yi Tian. It seems that there is no different opinion.
Xian, her master.
At this time, it was Du Mingyue who took the lead in speaking to Yi Tian.
Now she doesn't know how to match Yi Tian.
If she calls Dao Yu, Yi Tian is still the master of her elder. If she calls her elder, she is still the master of her daughter. In such a disordered situation, she could only address her vaguely.
Xian, her master, we have carefully considered Xian's affairs.
Since she has been worshipped by the master, she should follow the master with other disciples and listen to education sooner or later in order to grow up quickly. If Xian's master doesn't feel troublesome, take her with her. The more Yi Tian listens to this address, the more uncomfortable he feels. How can he feel like calling her father?
But since they said so, Yi Tian didn't say much. He nodded and agreed.
Anyway, one more disciple is not many, one less disciple is not many.
Xian can't be better around.
Her Xianin body, following her, makes him enter the country faster.
Thank you, master.
Hearing that Yi Tian finally agreed, Xian jumped up excitedly, holding Yi Tian's arm and shaking it endlessly. Yi Tian dry cough a few, purple yen this just loosen a hand, cover small mouth with small hand, steal the smile in the side.
Master, this is the monster returned to you.
More than a dozen of the monsters killed in the battle have been replenished. In addition, the disciple found another 105 level monsters and put them in it. The identification marks of all monsters have been erased and handed over to Master. At this time, Yin Zhong took out a spirit beast ring and gave it to Yi Tian. And mine, in addition to the replenished monsters, also put in 105 level monsters.
Then, Xuanxie took out his spirit beast ring. Tian took the 2 spirit beast rings and said, "Old 14, old 15, you have a heart. In fact, it's nothing to lose dozens of monsters. You don't have to care so much."
Xianxia said, the monster was nothing, but the master had to go back to the Earth Star. It was very difficult and dangerous. For the sake of his disciples, the master spent so much money on the monster. No matter how much money the disciples had to make up for it.
"What's more, please accept this one." With these words, Xuanxie takes out a Shumi ring and gives it to Yi Tian. Yi Tian took Shumi commandment and looked at it suspiciously.
His mind imprinted on it and looked at what was inside. There are a lot of fairy jade, a lot of magic weapons, and even 10 magic weapons of the Banxianbing.
There are also many precious materials. In addition, there are 3 separate Shumi commandments. Yi Tian did not continue to look at the 3 Shumi commandments, but looked at the crack. "Old 14, what does that mean?"
However, Xuanxie said sincerely, "Master, I have got all my original items back. Some of them are the immortal soldiers we exchanged with Master, and some of them are the spoils seized in previous wars. The other is the wealth gained by exterminating the Yin family and the Jing family. The Xian family has a deep family background, and these things don't help the Xian family very much. But the Master took people to the Earth Star, where the resources were poor. I didn't know what would happen along the way, so all these things were reserved for the Master. After all, even if the Master can't use it, there are also those monks who follow him. There are also some pills and spiritual materials prepared by the disciples for the Master, which are stored in Shumi commandment. Even if Lao Shiwu and I give them to my elder martial brothers and sisters."
When talking about the old 15, Xuanxie takes a look at Yunzhong.
Yi Tian notices that when he hears his uncle call him that, Yunzhong jerks his eyes and then returns to his former appearance.
There's no way. In front of Yi Tian, they can only talk about brothers, not relatives. Yunzhong can't say anything. After hearing what Xuanxie said, Yi Tian didn't refuse.
He had already seen how huge the Xuanjia was. These resources were really nothing to the Xuanjia. Although he has a lot of resources, once he returns to the Earth Star, the resources needed by such a large group of monks must be huge. Since he can get more resources, he will not refuse. "Well, I'll take it as a teacher." After Yi Tian took it, he took out a magic weapon cave and gradually enlarged it in the air. "It's time for you to meet your senior brothers and sisters." Then Yi Tian called out the 12 disciples again. Then let the disciples introduce themselves and get to know each other. It's the first time Xuanxie and Yunzhong meet their elder martial brothers and sisters. At first sight, they find that Yi Tian's eyes are not so good. Apart from other senior brothers and sisters, there is a world with only the cultivation of sea view. It's not only plain in appearance, but also plain in quality and level. Besides, it's the 12th place. I still want to call someone a senior sister seeing the 12 elder martial sisters. Yunzhong seeing the 12 elder martial sisters. Bihuan then took off her little hand, nodded her head slightly and said, "Don't be polite, 2 younger martial brothers." When she said this, her heart was a little flustered, although it was the first time to see the 2 younger martial brothers. But when he was in the Qin family, he contacted a lot of monks from all over the country. He had heard of the great names of Xuanxie and Yunzhong for a long time. The Xuanjia and Yunjia, however, are unusual in Lansang. Now, the head of the Taigu family, the head of the aristocratic family, has become his younger martial brother. Isn't Master a little too strong? Bihuan couldn't help looking at her. There's nothing wrong with the space passage, is there? After a simple meeting, Yi Tian took all the disciples back to the cave and asked. Xuanxie said, "No problem." Before, the disciples had sent Xianjun and Xianmeng to enter Luotian's spirit realm from the space channel. One is to fight the front station, and the other is to test the space channel. Everything is normal. They should be waiting for us at the other end of the space channel now. Well, it shouldn't be too late. Let's go now. Yi Tian nodded slightly and flew to Hucho Gorge first. More than 10 minutes later, people have already stood in the space where the space passage is located. There are also 18 great friars of the Tian clan who come in together. The space passage is not allowed to be entered by outsiders.
This is the rule of the Xuanjia family before.
But now the Xuanjia family is tied up with the Xingyi clan. These Tian clans have the relationship of Yi Tian, so they are not outsiders in the eyes of Xuanxie. In the underground space at this time, there were dozens of children of the Xian family guarding, all of them were cultivating the spirit. Among them, the 6 monks of the Xian crack group saw Yi Tian, Xian crack and others come in, and they led the crowd to the ceremony one after another. The transmission array above this space channel has been removed and can be transmitted directly.
Good. Yi Tian doesn't have different opinions.
As long as he doesn't go to Yupu, the space passage won't collapse for the time being.
It's better to have more hands. He's eager to return to the Earth Star, and he doesn't want to make a new branch in Luotian's spiritual realm.
In this way, I will take the first step. With that, Xuanxie gives a little bow to Yi Tian and the great friars of the Holy Wing clan around him, turns around and jumps into the space channel, and soon disappears. Then the children of the Xian family, who had already been arranged, entered one by one. Yi Tian turned to Lu Fang and others and nodded slightly. "Chief Lu, I'll leave now."
To the Grand Master. Lu Fang and other 18 people bent down and bowed deeply. "Come back, please."
Yi Tian stretched out his hand, said a word, and then flashed into it. As soon as he entered the space channel, Yi Tian felt the powerful force of space rolling towards his whole body. Although he had achieved immortal body, he felt the pressure of terror and didn't take any risks. With a gesture, he took out Dun Tiansuo, entered it, and then opened the defense shield. In the swirling space, Yi Tian looks out through the transparent shield. Even if you use the source eye, you can only see the distance of 3 feet in the gray space vortex. Those dense and fast-rotating gray clouds tear Dun Tiansuo up and down again and again, quickly moving to the depth of space, all the way shaking and dangerous. I don't know how deep the space passage is. About 10 minutes later, Dun Tiansuo, who was flying fast, suddenly stopped. Here, Yi Tian unexpectedly saw the Xuanxie and the children of the Xuanjia family who had entered the space channel before. They are attacking a black wall in front of them in the terrible tearing force of space. And this black wall is blocking in front of the space passage, and a group of people are blocked here. What's the situation? Yi Tian's eyebrows wrinkled, and Yuan Tian's eyes lit up, looking at the black wall. With the cultivation of Xuanxie and others, it's easy to attack a wall, even if it's hard to break it. However, the situation in front of us, although many people fiercely attack the wall, it seems that there is no sign of being broken. A moment later, Yi Tian closed the shield of Dun Tiansuo and floated out. With the strength of his body and the protective clothing of Tianchan in the cold region, it's not a big problem for him to be built into the power of space in a short time. Master, you should go to the end of the passage. The space passage here is blocked by the other side of the spirit realm of Luo Tian. Xian crack see Yi Tian come out from Dun Tiansuo, immediately say aloud. Yi Tian said with a gloomy face, "Old 14, you don't have to work hard. The domain name of this defense field is Tortoise Shell Shield. Unless many great friars of Yupu realm join hands, they can't break it." Then what? Is there something wrong with the Xian family in Luo Tian's spiritual realm? Occupied by the barbarians? Xian crack heart a sink, blurt out to say. Without analyzing the specific reasons, since Shenjun and Xianmeng can enter the Luo Tian spiritual realm through the channel, it shows that this field was arranged in recent days. Let's get out of the way, let me break the field, go and have a look. Speaking, in the space channel, Yun Zhong and some other Xuanjia carefully followed the way here. Yi Tian glanced at the crowd and came to the black wall. Gesture move, a blue mini phoenix out of thin air, the temperature around immediately increased sharply. Small phoenix in the space channel a little judgment, then selected a position of the black wall to the inside of a rush to drill. The blazing heat quickly melted the surface of the black wall, and the blue mini phoenix penetrated into the black wall. But it's strange that under the eyes of the public, after the blue mini phoenix entered the black wall, the surface of the melted black wall was quickly restored and turned into a black wall again. The surface was very complete, as if it had never been melted before, and as if the blue mini phoenix had never penetrated into it. What a resilience! Xian Crack exclaimed in surprise.
At this time, he really knew the strength of the black wall. Although their previous attacks were fierce, they failed to break the surface of the black wall, only making the black wall shake slightly. The blue mini phoenix is really unusual, but it is also engulfed by the black wall. The ability of the black wall to explore the mind has been powerful to an incredible degree. Master. Seeing that Tian was still staring at the black wall, his face was always calm, and his whole body was concerned. What Xuanxia wanted to say was swallowed by him. Tian's slightly side head said, "Don't worry, after a while. The tortoise shell shield is very powerful, which is an ancient strange array. The black field is more than 10 feet thick, powerful, and has strong resilience. But it's a pity that I can't be a teacher." With that, Tian continued to shine through the sky's eyes and looked into the black wall. At this time, the blue mini phoenix is slowly drilling into the black field, but the target is a simple dark rune. The black rune can't be seen by naked eyes, but under the eye of the source sky, the rune is invisible. And this black field is really as strong as Tian said. With ordinary materials, the blue mini phoenix transformed by Nirvana fire can reach the point of second melting. But this field, Nirvana fire, also takes a lot of time. Finally, a few minutes later, the blue mini phoenix finally came next to the black rune. As soon as the body shape of the little phoenix changed, it turned into a leaping blue flame, surrounded the black rune and began to refine. Bang! 2 or 3 minutes later, the black rune made a slight noise, which exploded like a black fireworks and disappeared. Tian nodded secretly, and Xinyan manipulated the mini phoenix to another black rune several meters away. This black rune is also invisible to the naked eye. After the first black rune burst, the color of the black wall obviously changed, that is, the black of the black wall seems to be lighter, not as black as before. Master's method is really powerful. Xiancrack looked at the change in front of him and said sincerely. This time, Tian showed another extraordinary side. Even other Xuanjia friars were surprised that Tian's accomplishments were only in Longmen realm, but this kind of means was not possessed by ordinary Yupu realm. Thinking of the 18 great friars of the Xingyi clan escorting them together, and showing great respect to their ancestors, the monks of the Xian family could not help but feel a sense of awe. I don't think it's ridiculous for Xuanxia to worship this person as a teacher anymore. Of course, the monks of the Xian family didn't react too much. Tian's strength and means have gradually numbed them. After all, it was such a monk in Longmen realm who used the secret method. He once killed 2 great monks in Yupu realm under their eyes. What else is impossible by such means? www.novelhall.com, the fastest update of. There are thousands of black runes in the tortoise shell shield defense field, and each rune is intricate and looks very similar. If it wasn't for the ancient book that On Yuan Mountain gave him, Tian would not be able to break this field, or even recognize it. But now, it's all over again. Among thousands of black runes, there are only 5 field runes that play an important role. If you only need to break these 5 field runes, the rest of them will lose contact, and the field will be broken. When the first rune is broken, the color of the field shield becomes lighter, and the defense ability of the shield is also reduced. The speed of the blue mini phoenix's drilling in the field was also increased. Soon, the little phoenix did the same and detonated the second rune. The color of the black field changes again and becomes lighter. At this time, looking at the blue mini phoenix passing through the third black rune, Tian's lips showed a smile. At first, he worried about whether the methods recorded in the ancient books were effective, but after 2 verifications, his worries were completely eliminated. Old 14, Old 15, prepare to meet the enemy. When the third black rune is detonated, the color of the field becomes lighter and lighter. At a certain moment, Tian suddenly says with fixed eyes. Master, what did you find? Xiancrack brow a wrinkly ground says. Tian's lips flashed a sneer, seeing that these people are specially set up for us. If it's a good guess, it should be your Xian family. Do they dare to rebel? When he heard the words, he held them tightly. This tortoise shell shield field can't be broken by the monk of Washinjing, and the monk of Yupujing can't enter the space channel. If you conceal this side, no one will come. What about their rebellion? What else can I do for them? Tian said coldly. Xiancrack hears speech, the facial expression restored calm. Ponder away, the other side has how many hands? What is the state of mind? Do you need to go back and send reinforcements?
Yi Tian's eyes slightly coagulated, and said, "No harm, there are only 12 monks, so there should be no cultivation in Yupu. And it seems that they are all members of the Xian family, and the clothes they wear all have Xian characters on them."
That's easy.
The Xian crack hears speech. The facial expression is more calm, but the cold light in the eye is more and more cool.
Bang!
When the fifth field rune selected by Yi Tian explodes, the light black wall suddenly explodes, and all the black walls blocking the sight begin to crumble and disappear.
Yi Tian gestures, blue mini phoenix into a dazzling blue light, back to Yi Tian, into his Dantian, disappeared.
But Yi Tian didn't pay attention to the little phoenix, but quickly returned to Dun Tiansuo, and the shield opened again. With the breaking of the tortoise shell shield field, the spaces reopened, and the turbulent force of space vortex suddenly appears again. Yi Tian's Dun Tiansuo, together with Xuanxie and others, rushes to the other side of the space passage. After a few breaths, the power of no space rotation disappeared, the power of terror tearing disappeared, everything returned to calm. Dun Tiansuo floats quietly at the other end of the space passage, while Xuanxie, Yunzhong and others are protected around him, looking coldly at the 12 monks in front of him. For a short time, only a middle-aged friar with a little fat body stepped forward and said, "Welcome to the spirit realm of Luotian."
Xuanfu?
Xuanxie looks at the monk with both hands. He has never been to the spirit realm of Luotian, but he knows who is in charge here.
Yes, I'm Xuanfu. Which one are you from?
The middle-aged monk admitted his identity and began to ask about the origin of the mystery crack.
Shencha didn't answer his question, but asked coldly, "What's the purpose of setting up this tortoise shell shield field?"
At this time, Xuanfu had looked at the people in Yi Tian's side one by one, and then said, Xuanfu was ordered by the master to close the space channel.
I think all the people don't know about it?
A few days ago, 2 clansmen came from the space passage.
Where are they now? Xian crack smell speech, eyebrow a pick again ask away. 2 people? Xuanfu hasn't seen it. He doesn't know that there are people coming from the space channel. Xuanfu said with a puzzled expression on his face.
Xian crack eyelid slightly alift, stare at Xianfu to see a few breath, then the vision once swept, looked around the environment. The exit of the space is located in an abyss, surrounded by clouds and vapors, while the exit is in a cold pool of the canyon. Around the canyon, there are more than 10 tall buildings, in which there is a faint air of monks. It is obvious that this is the guard place set up by the Xian family. If Xianjun and Xianmeng come out from here, it's absolutely impossible for people to leave here without knowing it. If that's the case, the branch of the Xian family here is really rubbish. Taking back his eyes, Xuanxie looks at Xuanfu again. Then he makes a gesture, but a token appears in his hand, Xuanxie, the new master of Xuanjia, Xuanfu. If you tell the truth now, it's not too late. I don't blame you even if you are really under the command of mystery. But if you lie to each other, your scene will be miserable. Are you the new owner of the house? Hearing what Xuanxie said, Xuanfu finally changed his face and asked in disbelief.
The Xian crack cold hums away. The old man thinks, you should not know the house owner token? Xuanfu leads the children of the Xian family to welcome the coming of the family leader. Xuanfu's face was even worse.
He knelt down and said in a loud voice.
So did the 11 monks behind him? Is that how you greet me? Block the gate to greet you?
At this time, Xuanxie finally changed his face and cried out, "Come on, take Xuanfu down and search for the soul, don't you say?
I have a way to know."
Master, even though you are in charge of the Xuanjia family in the Lansang spiritual realm, I am also a man of status.
How can I get along with myself when the master does this?
Xuanfu stood up abruptly and stepped back, but he said aloud. At this time, the 4 monks of the Xuanjia family, who had been transformed into the divine realm, were ordered by Xianxia and rushed to him in a flash. However, the 11 monks of Xuanfu stopped the 4 monks. Well, Xuanfu, you really want to rebel? You dare to disobey the orders of your master?
Xian crack cold voice drinks away, at the same time a wave handway, I'll take.
The voice just falls. Cloud Zhong and other 16 Xian family friars follow Xian crack's body shape, pounce at each other.
A big fight is imminent.
The hands on both sides were pounding together. Seeing this, Yi Tian manipulated Dun Tianxua to fly up into the sky.
It was obvious that the Xians in Luo Tian's spiritual realm really had the idea of breaking away from the Xians in Lansong's spiritual realm, and put it into action.
But what they didn't expect was that the tortoise-shell shield field was broken soon after it was set up. The mysterious crack has caught them by surprise. If there is a ghost in their heart, they naturally know it best. How can they let the mysterious crack search the soul? 22 verses 12. Although they were all in the same spiritual realm, the small realm of the monks on the side of Xuanxia was generally higher than that of the other side. The 20 Xian family children selected by Xuanxia were all the later cultivation of Huaxinjing.
As soon as Xuanfu stood up to resist, Xuanxia was so angry that he had already issued a killing order.
In an instant, the other side had been killed and injured, and one after another monks were injured or fell. Originally, the number of people was at a disadvantage, and the number of people was rapidly reduced.
Xuanfu had been surrounded by Xuanxia and others.
If it goes on like this, it is estimated that the whole army will be destroyed soon. At this time, suddenly, among the more than 10 houses above, several monks suddenly burst into shape and rushed to Yi Tian. Yi Tian had been on guard for a long time, and a magic power hit Dun Tianxua.
Dun Tianxua suddenly flashed, and he was far away.
There are as many as 6 monks coming to him, and the realm is Yuanying realm, so Yi Tian will not fight with them. The speed of escaping from heaven is equivalent to half a step into the divine realm. Naturally, the monks of Yuanying realm can't catch up with Yi Tian, but just follow Yi Tian in the distance, kill them all. Seeing Yi Tian's disposition of being chased and killed, he yelled in the crack and went straight to the direction where Yi. The speed of dark crack is very fast. In the blink of an eye, those figures that have disappeared from the field of vision appear in the sight again. Just as he was about to speed up again, 3 figures suddenly flew up from the ground and stopped in front of him.
Who?
Xian crack expression a cold, drank to ask a sentence. These 3 people are the cultivation of transforming the divine realm, one of them is the peak of transforming the divine realm, the other 2 are the later cultivation of transforming the divine realm. There is no sign of Xuanjia on the 3 people, and they are cold. It is obvious that what they practice is a kind of cold skill, but no one of Xuanjia has ever practiced this kind of skill.
Never mind who we are. You can stay here today.
Among them, the tall and thin friar was the friar at the top of the spirit realm. He suddenly opened his mouth and vomited out. A golden ring shot out of his mouth and quickly enlarged to hit the crack. Just at this time, Yi Tian looked back at Dun Tianxua, but saw that the Xuanxia flying sword enlarged quickly and met the golden ring. At this time, the other 2 friars of the other side also besieged and went up, but on the other side of the crack, Yun Zhong had already come near with 4 children of the Xian family. There are only 3 monks in the other side, who are actually involved in this fight, and they are the enemies of the Xuanjia family in the Lansong spiritual realm? Yi Tian doubts Doxing in his heart, and quickly uses the hidden killing technique. Suddenly, his figure disappears on Dun Tianxua, and then Dun Tianxua disappears.
The 6 pursuing monks of Yuanying saw Yi Tian disappear, but they didn't have any reaction.
Their speed of escape was still the same, and they didn't even have the idea of looking for Yi Tian. Not to mention, offering a magic weapon like Dingshan bead to find the trace of Yi Tian.
It's strange.
Yi Tian, who had already avoided for a mile, murmured to himself.
Then he took it out again and ran after it.
With such a blatant pursuit, Yi Tian knows that the other side will surely find himself.
However, the other side will continue to fly away as if he didn't see him. Grass. There must be something wrong with it.
Yi Tian accelerated the speed of Dun Tianxua, getting closer and closer to the 6 Yuanying monks. It turns out that the other party is not chasing himself, but something in this direction, and the other party certainly is not running away, otherwise it can't be in the same direction as his own. Otherwise, if you pursue yourself, you will surely have a companion to rescue you, and you will lose the meaning of escape. As it turns out, Xuanxia followed him to meet him, and after Yunzhan left 4 children of the Xuanxia family, he came here at a high speed. Seeing that they are about to catch up with each other, one of the 6 Yuanying monks in front of them turns to intercept Yi Tian, while the other 5 still fly forward. Up to now, Yi Tian has completely confirmed his guess. Moreover, he seemed to have guessed the reason why the other party was so anxious to go in this direction. With this in mind, the two pairs of Tianling wings behind him suddenly released, and Dun Tiansuo immediately put them away. His four wings suddenly vibrated, and his body disappeared from the original place. When he appeared, he had already surpassed the 5 Yuanying monks.
How fast did you surpass the monk of Yuanying? For the first time, Yi Tian really used Tian Linji on the battlefield.
Although the opponent's accomplishments were only in the middle and early stage of Yuanying, Yi Tian's confidence in this kind of magical power was greatly increased. Yi Tian, standing in front of him, gestured and released 10,000 clematis in a flash. With a buzzing sound like a black wind, he swept away to the 5 friars of Yuanying. When they saw such a large number of ants, they didn't want to fight at all. They drew an arc in the air and were ready to bypass the ants and take the road. But one of the friars just had an action, but suddenly exclaimed. Yi Tian released 2 shadowless snakes, one of which had bitten the man's ankle skin. However, a large number of clematis swarmed up again to intercept the other 4.
During this delay, Yun Zhong had already sent an electric beam.
A flying sword turned into a cold light and killed one of them. Yi Tian calls back the Taisian ant, and Yun Zhong is not afraid to kill the other 3 Yuanying monks with 3 swords. Then he came to the monk who was bitten by the shadowless snake in a flash. A magic power was used to turn him into a black dragon, whistling and circling at the tiger, and entangled him in an instant. Yun Zhongdao approached him and clapped his hand on his shoulder. The magic power penetrated his body and directly shattered his Yuanying. Immediately, right hand pressed on his head, begin to search soul. More than 10 minutes later, Yun Zhong's palm vomited and killed him.
Master, what you expected is good. It's really related to Xianneng and Xianjun.
I'll go to save people first. After that, Yun Zhong said in a hurry. His body turned into an electric light and shot away in the distance. At this time, in the distance, Xuanxie came with 20 children of the Xuanjia family in a hurry.
The 3 friars ran away.
Xian cracks some unwilling ground says to the leaf day. Yi Tian nodded his head and said, I already know the situation.
Old 15 is going to rescue Xianneng and Xianjun. Old 14 is sending several people to support him.
Xian crack nodded and pointed to 10 people nearby. You go, others stay here with me. The 10 children of the Xian family agreed to shoot in the direction that Yun Zhong said, and soon disappeared. Master, there's something strange going on here.
Why do these people of the Xian family betray the Xian family?
Xian crack in the leaf day side open mind induction, and then frown said. At this time, he regretted that he didn't leave a living member of the Xian family, otherwise he didn't have to guess. Yi Tian also frowned and said, it seems that there should be a third force involved, maybe it should be related to this. Lao Shiwu has already searched the soul of a child of the Xuanjia family in Yuanying. He should know something when he comes back and asks. That's what he said, but there were some worries in his heart. He thought that it would come naturally when he arrived at the spirit realm of Luo Tian, but no one thought that this accident happened. Not only can we not use the power of the Xuanjia branch, but also it seems that there are some troubles. Go and meet me over there. Yi Tian was worried and wanted to reveal the truth as soon as possible.
He knew that as long as he was here, Xianchan would not leave.
So he let out Dun Tiansuo and flew to the direction of Yunzhong and others. Xian crack nature has no opinion. The figure moves ground to follow leaf day closely. Old 14, do you know if anyone in this branch of the Xian family is proficient in the field?
Yi Tian suddenly thought of what asked. Xuanxie thought for a moment, then shook his head and said, I haven't heard about it. I've been contacting you all the time.
It's all done by the owner himself, and all the people appointed are the most trusted people of the owner. Although I know about the space passage, I have never been here, and I know very little about it.
This is the first time I've come here, and I've come across something like this.
Yi Tian nodded in silence and continued to fly for a long distance before he said in a quiet way, what I'm worried about is that another force is involved, so things will become very complicated. Maybe this field is spread by another force, and the Xuanjia branch is only responsible for guarding it. It's possible that the 3 monks who intercepted the disciples before were definitely not from the Xian family. As for the origin, the disciples can infer, but they escape very fast, far faster than the monks in the same realm, and their cultivation methods are also very special.
Xian Crack returns to think to say, since I haven't been here, I don't have a deep understanding of the land of immortal mounds, do I? Yi Tian sighed and asked.
The space passage from Luo Tian's spiritual realm to Tai Man's spiritual realm is located in this place called Xianzhong. The information Yan Lai gave him only mentioned a little, and there was no detail. Originally, Yi Tian thought that there was a branch of the Xuanjia family here. He must know some specific situations, but now it seems that everything has to start from scratch. About 10 minutes later, there were more than 10 black spots in the distance. Yi Tian, Xuanxie and others stopped to escape the light and wait quietly. Through the exploration of divine thoughts, they already know that it's Yun Zhong and the 10 monks of Xuanjia who have come back. Master, I rescued Shenmeng and Xianjun, but their accomplishments were sealed off, and the disciples couldn't solve them for a while. When he got near, Yun Zhongchao nodded his head, then told Yi Tianji. With that, Yunzhong fell to the ground, then motioned, released a cave, quickly enlarged, and then saw Xianjun and Xianmeng come out of it.
www.novelhall.com, the fastest. The two men acted as usual and didn't see any injuries, but they were all suffering with one face, and they didn't feel any fluctuation of mana. Master, I'm ashamed. I've disgraced the Xian family. We've been caught.
Xianmeng saw that everyone's eyes were staring at him. He wiped his beard on his face, and finally put his hand on his eyes and lowered his head.
Xuanjuan's face turned red and he bowed his head. What's going on, in detail?
With a gesture, Xuanxie takes out a chair and puts it behind Yi Tian. Then he takes out another chair and gives it to Yun Zhong. Then he also takes out a chair and sits down. It seems that he wants to listen to a long speech.
Xianjun, say it. Xianmeng poked Xianjun and said.
Xianjun nodded and said, well, let me tell you something shameful. Master, that day Xianmeng and I were ordered by the master and sent here through the space channel. Who knows, just after the transmission, I saw dozens of monks in the mountain stream, but I didn't see the Xian family. As soon as they saw me and Xianmeng, without saying a word, they started. We were afraid of any misunderstanding, so we gave the name of the Xian family. Who knows that the other side didn't buy it? Moreover, the more than 20 people were all cultivating their spiritual state, which was very fast.
I'm defeated by Xianmeng, so I want to return to the space channel to report back.
It's just that the other side has blocked the space channel tightly, and they can't go back. In the end, they let out a strange big net to cover me and I was captured alive. The most irritating thing is that they also searched our souls. What we should know is known by those people. At this point, Xuanjuan's face was more red, and he looked ashamed.
What's more, they didn't kill us, they just closed the cultivation and locked up in an underground cave. Thanks to Master Yun's rescue, we were able to get out of danger.
Listening to Xuanjuan's story, Xuanxia's face became more and more ugly. A moment later, he said to Yi Tian, Master, according to this, those people know that we are going to enter the spirit realm of Luo Tian, so they closed the space channel. It seems that the members of the Xian family do not know about us. They may be kept in the dark, but there is no doubt about betraying the Xian family. Yi Tian nodded and looked at Yun Zhong. Old 15, you searched that person's soul before.
You should know something about it.
Yun Zhong said, yes, I know some, but the most important thing now is to lift the prohibition of Xianjun and Xianmeng. Otherwise, once something happens, we will lose two fighting forces to transform the divine realm.
Well, it's really strange that this prohibition is totally different from the prohibition method of Longsun's spiritual realm.
I can't see where the prohibition was placed. By the way, Master, I remember you still have a pill to break the ban. This pill can break their ban. Xian Crack came forward and tried on Xianmeng. Then he shook his head.
Hearing the words, Yi Tian took back his eyes from Xianjun and Xianmeng and shook his head. It's useless to use the breaking ban pill. They are forbidden by the Yin Cold Qi and seal the orifices and acupoints with the Yin Cold Poison. If they don't lift the ban for a long time, they will cause irreparable damage to the 8 channels. What shall we do? Xianmeng's smell speech, in the heart and anxious, the face also changed color. Yi Tian is a little smile. You just said breaking the ban Dan can't solve this ban, but didn't say you can't solve it. It's very simple. Everyone has a drink. After a while, the ban will be solved.
With these words, Tian takes out a gourd from Shumi ring and throws it to Xianmeng with a gesture.
It's the monkey wine from Kunlun mountain god on earth.
Xianmeng took the gourd, pulled out the plug, poured a mouthful, smacked his mouth, and said in a loud voice, "It's really good wine." With these words, he had to take another sip, but Xianjun grabbed it and scolded him. "It's a kind of elixir that can break the Ian and cold prohibition.
Do you think it's ordinary wine? You can't even imagine how many rare natural resources and treasures there are.
Maybe a small mouthful will cost millions or tens of millions of immortals.
How can you be a wine?"
With that, Xianjun took a sip at the mouth of the gourd. Then he tasted it and said, "Good wine."
Then he took another sip. "You."
Xianmeng saw that Xianjun was only concerned about being said by others, but he even drank 2 mouthfuls. He pointed to Xianjun and wanted to return a few words, but suddenly he felt a burning sensation all over his body, wandering around all over his body. The cold feeling on the body is like seeing the scorching sun from the ice and snow, dissolving into invisibility.
Well, it's really a wonderful effect.
Xianmeng made a gesture, and a magic power came out, and his momentum burst out immediately.
Then, the monkey wine also played a role in Xuanjuan's body.
After more than 10 breaths, Xuanjuan's cold chi was relieved.
"Just a moment, and you'll be as good as ever." Tian took the wine gourd handed back by Xianjun, put it away and looked at Yunzhong, old 15, "What's the specific situation? You can talk about it."
Yunzhong nodded and said, "It seems that things are in trouble. Those monks who practice cold skill are not local monks in Luo Tian's spiritual realm, but come from Taiman's spiritual realm. The monk of Yuanyingjing of the Xian family had limited knowledge, but as far as he knew, those guys were from Taiman Lingyu, a man named Xuanmingzong.
Because of the feud with people in the spirit realm of Taiman, he was forced to come to the spirit realm of Luo Tian through the space channel." Too much spirit? Hearing this word, Tian's eyes brighten.
Since the people of Xianming's sect can come to the spirit realm of Luo Tian through the space channel, it means that the space channel is easy to use, and the people of Xianming's sect must know about the space channel. Then, there is a way to find the space channel, and it's good to put it all into Xianming's sect.
Seeing Tian's expression, Yunzhong continued, "Master, I haven't finished yet. The following things are more important."
Tian said with a smile, "Old 15, don't play tricks, just continue to say."
"Yes, Master."
Yunzhong continued, "Xianming sect is powerful and powerful."
"How strong is it?"
"The children of the Xian family don't know, but at least they should be as strong as the other members of the Xian family."
As soon as this clan came, it destroyed Wulongmen. Wulongmen is a big sect in the spirit realm of Luo Tian.
This time, Xianming's sect became famous and became one of the most popular forces in the spirit realm of Luo Tian. Later, Xuanmingzong and Xuanzhou's side branch closed the transmission channel from Langsong to Luo Tian. Xianmeng and Xianjun originally wanted to torture Xuanmingzong for a period of time.
After they were completely despairing, they worshipped under the door of Xuanmingzong.
After all, their spiritual cultivation can be used. These dogs are scum. Hearing that Xuanmingzong was beating his own attention, Xianmeng scolded him. "Xianmeng, don't interrupt." Xian Crack ruthlessly looked at Xianmeng one eye to say. Yunzhong continued, "Not only that, in order to prevent the enemies from pursuing and killing, Xianming's sect, who is good at knowing the field, also manipulated the space channel between Luo Tian and Taiman. The son of the Xian family doesn't know the specific method, but the result is that people from the other side of the spirit realm can't come here, while people from the spirit realm of Luo Tian can go there."
Is it a one-way ghost gate array? Listening to Yunzhong's description, Tian suddenly remembered the records in the ancient books sent by on Yuan Mountain.
There was such a strange array in it. This field is not exactly the same as that described by Yunzhong. It is also an array arranged in a certain channel.
The effect is that it can only go from one direction to another.
If you come from the other side, it will cause the collapse of space and form a killing array. Instead, as Yunzhong said, people over there can't get by.
Among them, the one-way ghost gate array is extremely obvious.
As long as you see it with your own eyes, you can see it. If it's really a one-way ghost gate array, then this Xianming sect is really vicious. Because he has set up such a field, no one can guarantee that those who come from the space channel must be his enemies, and they may also be innocent people. But no matter who is, as long as they enter the field, they will never come back and fall in the powerful collapse of space.
Thinking of this, Tian is a little worried. If that's the case, the space channel may collapse at any time. Old 15, have you ever found the specific location of that space passage? Tian asked directly.
Yunzhong shook his head regretfully. The man who searched for the soul is just an ordinary Yuanyingjing monk of the side branch of the Xian family. If there is anything special, it is that he is Xuanfu's confidant. What he knew was more than others, but it was also limited. Before he went there, he wanted to use Xianmeng and Xianjun as hostages to coerce Laoshi, but he didn't know the specific location of the space passage.
However, we found some other things about Xianming sect. You know something, just say it.
Yi Tiandao had a lot of interest in Xianming sect, which came from Taiman spirit realm. Yunzhong said, because there are no great friars in Yupu realm, the people of Xianming sect come here and act recklessly. After destroying Tianlongmen, they still have the ambition to continue to expand.
There were two great forces in Luotian Lingyu, one was the side branch of Xuanjia, the other was Xiulian sect, named Xiandazong.
After the Xianming sect closed the space channel leading to the two spiritual realms, it became a world of its own, and the monks of other spiritual realms could not enter through the space channel. And the people of Xianming sect still have plans to continue to subdue other sections. Finally, they may have to deal with the Immortal sect together with the Xians.
Is the side branch of the Xian family confused? Isn't this playing with fire? Not to mention whether Xianming can be trusted, even if he is a reliable ally, are the other forces so easy to deal with? Even if the side branch of the Xian family has the advantage, if the rest of the sect's Washinjing monks are annoyed, if they want to revenge the ordinary children of the Xian family at all costs, I'm afraid the loss of the Xian family will be very heavy. Yi Tianling snorted.
In this way, the strength of the Xianming sect is really strong. As far as I know, there are more than 30 monks in Xuanfu's spiritual realm.
If the strength of the Xianming sect is the same as that of the other branches of the Xian family, it can't be underestimated.
At this time, Xian Crack solemnly interposed, moreover, this side branch of the Xian family has done such things, and it must be rectified. I agree with Lao Shi's opinion, but I'm afraid these people are short of manpower to rectify the side branch of the Xian family. Yi Tian looked in front of him, and 24 monks, including Xuanxie and Yunzhong, said anxiously.
It's easy to do.
I'll go back with Lao Shi and mobilize the monks of the Cloud family and the Xian family to come and solve this problem at one time.
Yunzhong thought about it and said,
well, it won't take a few days to go back and forth.
Master and other people will wait here. Don't have a direct conflict with the Xianming sect. Everything will be easy when we come back.
Xuanxie said with approval.
Then go and come back quickly, so as not to cause trouble.
We will guard at the entrance of the space passageway, so as not to be dealt with by the other side again.
Yi Tian naturally has no opinion and agrees happily.
At the moment, the people flew to the abyss where the space passage was located. Fortunately, they were not far away from each other. Soon they had arrived in the abyss. At this time, there was no one here. Even the monk of Xuanjia who was afraid of guarding the space passage had disappeared. All the children of the Xian family must obey my master's orders. If they don't follow, they will be regarded as traitors. When entering the space passage in the cold pool, Xuanxie solemnly instructs the way. Among them, Xianjun and Xianmeng have known Yi Tian for a long time. They are very familiar with Yi Tian and are quite convinced of Yi Tian. However, the other 18 Xuanjia children have never fought with Yi Tian, so they are very strange to Yi Tian. When hearing Xian Crack say so, these people can't help a lin in the heart, hastily and neatly agreed. Because the consequences of such a statement can be said to be very serious.
Don't worry, Master. We'll protect Master Yi. Xianmeng nodded his head differently. You'd better not be reckless, or I won't let you off lightly.
The Xian Crack warned him then just toward Cloud Zhong to nod. Two people figure a flash ground didn't enter the cold pool.
Everyone, this is the critical moment. Xuanmingzong will not allow our reinforcements to enter the spirit realm of Luotian easily, and will probably seal the space passage again at all costs.
We should not have much time. As long as the other party cannot enter the cold pool, they will not be able to seal the entrance of the space channel, It is impossible to seal the cold pool in a short time.
Moreover, sealing the cold pool may not be able to stop the pace of reinforcements.
But what we have to do is try our best to keep it here, and don't let the other side have the opportunity to arrange the tortoiseshell shield. Wait for Xian Crack and Cloud Zhong to leave, Tian ponders to say.
We all listen to Master Yi.
Xuanjuan's face has recovered.
It's no longer as ugly as before. He thinks deeply about what Yi Tian said. If Xuanxie goes back and asks for reinforcements, they will let Xuanlingzong's people seal the space passage here. This time, it's too humiliating.
Well, now, everyone is invisible.
I'd rather spend some mana to keep this position.
If anything happens, please wait for my orders at any time.
Yi Tian is not talking about underground Lingdao immediately.
With that, he took the lead in performing hidden killing and disappeared from the original place. Seeing that Yi Tian was invisible, the other 22 children of the Xian family did not neglect him either, and each of them performed their own hiding skills, hiding their bodies at the bottom of the abyss. The bottom of the abyss was the same as before, as if these people had never appeared.
Time passed by bit by bit.
Unconsciously, more than 2 hours passed quietly. Just when everyone was on the alert, a dozen black spots suddenly appeared on the horizon and flew to the abyss at a very fast speed.
When Yi Tian, who was invisible, sees the black spot, Xian Meng, Xian Jun and other Xuanjia's children all move.
They seem to have plans to move at any time. Wait for my order.
Don't do it at will.
Yi Tian quickly separated 22 wisps of divine thoughts and sent out a message to everyone at the same time.
When people heard Yi Tian's voice, they stabilized their breath and waited quietly around the abyss.
They did not dare to act rashly. The dozen of them escaped quickly and soon came to the sky of the abyss, but they did not directly fall on the abyss, but suspended in the air and looked at the situation below. Xian Ran Daoyu, you Xuanjia people are good at stealth. Although it seems calm below, you should be careful to ambush. One of the skinny friars with a mole on his face said to a middle-aged man in brocade clothes. The middle-aged man waved his hand and said, it's true that the Xians are good at stealth, but according to my guess, most of them should have gone to the Dragon Head Valley.
It's superfluous to come here. I've heard that Xuanxie is extremely conceited.
As the head of the family, he can't even deal with things here.
He will lose face.
He should never go back to the Lantsang spiritual realm to find a helper. That's what I said, but the patriarch has an order, so there must be no mistake at this time. The Dragon Head Valley needs to be arranged on the other side and on the other side at the same time, and the most important thing is on the other side. Only after the passage is sealed can they shut the door and beat the dog. Even if they want to escape, it's hard for them to talk about it. After the fall of Xuanfu Daoyu, Xianran Daoyu was the leader of the Xuanjia family. The Xuanjia family and Xuanlingzong could not write two mysterious words in one stroke, so they had to keep watch and help each other all the time. The skinny monk with black mole on his face naturally knew that the Dragon Head Valley that Xianran said was the location of Xuanjia's side branch, and he said without expression, it is inevitable to keep watch and help each other. The Xuanjia family has broken with the Lantsang spiritual realm, and the old master died in the hands of Xuanjia. Both sides have settled their feud. In the future, they have to share a common hatred and rely on each other in the Luotian spiritual realm. If Wei Daoyu is worried about the mysterious crack lying in ambush below, I can test it for you with the fixed body pearl. With these words, the middle-aged friar in Jinfu made a gesture, and 3 white beads appeared in his hands. Then he threw them into the air, and the 3 beads glowed at the same time, covering the abyss below. As soon as the 3 white beads appear, Yi Tian's first reaction is that his tracks are about to be exposed, but it's not the best mobile phone meeting at this time. When he hesitates, Yuan Tian's eyes shine through, but suddenly he finds something wrong. In the past, in the Lantsang spiritual realm, although the surface of the 3 fixed body pearls emitted dazzling white light, under the observation of the source eye, the white light was actually 7-color light, gorgeous and colorful. Now, the dazzling white light in the field of vision of Yuan Tianian is really pure white light, without any other color. Yi Tian had an idea and looked at those Xuanjia friars who were hiding nearby. Sure enough, there was no shadow shining on.
Don't move. Obviously, Xianmeng didn't pay attention to the detail of the body-fixing bead.
Seeing that this man was facing the light of the body-fixing bead, it seemed that he was about to rush up and start.
Yi Tian quickly sent a message.
Hearing Yi Tian's voice, Xian Meng, who was about to move, immediately stopped, with a puzzled look on his face. It seems to say that people have already used the fixed body beads, and their marks have been exposed.
Why don't they let them do it?
Other people, because Yi Tian had a word in advance and had to obey his command, didn't act recklessly. They just looked up at the top of the abyss one by one, watching the dazzling white pearl, watching the floating crowd above the abyss, and ready to listen to Yi Tian's order at any time.
This bead is fake.
Seeing the appearance of these people, Yi Tiankai felt a little relieved. He explained casually, and then turned his attention to the top of the abyss.
Sure enough, although the 3 white beads are very similar to the immobile beads, they do not have the same effect as the immobile beads.
The people above the abyss did not find their existence because of the white light.
Brother Wei, look, you are worried too much. There is no one below.
If they use the art of invisibility, they will certainly have no place to hide under the light of the fixed body beads. Shenrun gesture at this time, 3 white beads immediately fly to him, then light a convergence, around the restoration of the previous appearance.
Be careful, there's no big mistake. The monk of Xianming sect, surnamed Wei, nodded slightly and said a word.
Then he waved his hand and flew to the bottom of the abyss.
Immediately, 8 people followed him.
These people were dressed in different colors, so they were not the children of the Xian family. Because Shenrun had checked it with a fixed bead, and the friar of the Wei family had seen it with his own eyes and found no abnormality, he was very relaxed when he fell into the abyss, almost without any defense.
Attention, everyone, do it now.
Seeing such a good opportunity, Yi Tian once again sent out a message to each Xian family's children at the same time. As soon as the sound came out, 22 invisible monks of Washinjing flew up, and all kinds of magic weapons in their hands gave a strong blow to the 9 monks who landed at the same time.
Boom! Boom! Boom!
A loud and dense voice was issued, and in a flash, the fierce attack fell on the other side, with a burst of bloodlight and broken limbs flying. The friars of the Wei family were among them. They were killed by Shenmeng and Xianjun.
The others' attacks also fell on the 8 people behind.
On the spot, 4 people were killed directly. The last 4 people heard the sound without saying a word. They shot at the top of the abyss with electric guns. The magic weapon in their hands sent out a series of fierce attacks to protect the whole body. However, it was too late for them to make a response. The Xuanjia friars had an advantage in the number of people, but they came prepared and surprised.
Although the enemy responded, they could not alleviate the current disadvantage.
After a fierce collision of magic weapons, the 4 men immediately fell into the siege of the monk of the Xian family. The most fatal thing was that they could not see the figure of the monk of the Xian family. They could only feel the fatal attacks coming to them unexpectedly. As a result, although the 4 monks of Xuanmingzong escaped faster than others, they were still in the embarrassing situation of no way to escape. The cold light flickered and the sword was flying. In the chaos and terror of the attack, all the 4 monks of the Xianming sect were surrounded by the children of the Xianming family and killed in one place. On the top of the abyss, seeing this scene, Xianrun's face suddenly changed. He seemed to be stunned for a moment. With a wave of his hand, he took the 5 monks of the Xian family and turned to fly away.
In a twinkling of an eye, he had gone far away.
Yi Tian looks at the direction of those people's disappearance in doubt, and stops them from pursuing. But he feels very puzzled in his heart.
Shenrun's performance is too abnormal.
As a member of the Xuanjia family, he can find out the invisible friars from the 3 beads he released.
Can he not know that?
If you don't know, why did the monk of Xuanmingzong go into the abyss, and he took the 5 members of the Xuanmingzong family to follow him slowly, but didn't follow closely, as if he was guarding against ambush in the abyss? If he knew that the 3 white beads could not detect the invisible friars, he would continue to release the 3 fake beads to deceive the friars of Xianming sect for what purpose?
Do you want to help Xian crack? However, if he is inclined to return to the Xuanjia family in Lansan Lingyu with his side branch, why does he turn around and run away without leaving a word?
If it's because you can't find the invisible position of the people on your side and you can't communicate with God, then at least one look can explain the problem.
Yi Tian couldn't judge the reason, so he didn't do it rashly. On the one hand, he was worried that he would be killed by mistake, and on the other hand, he was worried that he would be ambushed. After all, this man seems to have a deep intention. He can't rule out the idea of taking this opportunity to weaken the power of Xuanmingzong. It's better to wait for Xuanxie to come back to deal with the Xuanjia people. People quickly clean up the battlefield, Yi Tian again ordered. Everyone, listen to my order, immediately escape, stealth into the underground to hide. With his orders, the people without hesitation flashed into the underground soil and sneaked down. After Yi Tian and others entered the underground, they used a little means to recover some subtle traces left by Tu Dun, and then followed Tu Dun. With the previous experience, the children of the Xian family were more obedient. When they reached 100 meters underground, they were all silent, just waiting quietly. These monks are old monsters who have been practicing for many years. In terms of insight and experience, they are not comparable to ordinary monks. They have their own opinions on everything. But because of Yi Tian's correct treatment before, they made a big victory at the best time. This time, they are more convinced of Yi Tian. Although they don't know what Yi Tian was based on to determine that the other party didn't find their existence through Ding Shenzhu, what happened before proves that Yi Tian's judgment is completely correct. They killed the monk of Xuanmingzong without any loss. The most important thing is that they had a good grasp of the reality and didn't give the other party any time to react. Hidden in the underground, time is dead. In the quiet waiting, time bit by bit passed. Yi Tian, no new instructions, everyone is in a state of dormancy, no one dares to act rashly. In the sky tens of thousands of miles away, a group of friars are flying towards the abyss. Among them are Xian Run and others who left the abyss. There are about 40 monks in this group. The old man with long beard, who is the head of the group, has a very gloomy face. His body exudes a cold and gloomy smell, which makes people feel shivering. Xianrun followed him without saying a word, but he was just on his way. Xianrun, Xuanmingzong suffered such heavy losses, this matter will not stop. If there is something wrong with your words, be careful I'm not polite to you, Feiduan. The bearded old man suddenly gave Xianrun a cold look and said in a cold voice. Xianrun hastened to approach the man with a sad look on his face and said, Master Mo, everything Xuanmo said before is true. The direct staff of the Xians are extremely powerful. I don't know how they can avoid the detection of Ding Shenzhu. Wei Daoyu is eager to venture deep into the enemy when the enemy is not known and is ambushed by the other side. So that the whole army was destroyed, we took advantage of the position, otherwise I'm afraid we would not escape the disaster. This is still a small number of people in the Xian family. If there are more people, I'm afraid your clan and our Xian family will suffer. So this time, Master Mo must find a way to seal the space channel to prevent the Xians from coming to the Luotian spiritual realm. Don't worry. I'm already thinking about this. I can't believe that the Xians in the Lanxang spiritual realm are so powerful that someone can crack the tortoiseshell shield. Even your Ding Shenzhu can't find their trace. But from the memory of Xianjun and Xianmeng, there is no relevant information. It's quite strange at this time. The old man surnamed Mo frowned and said that his breath was even colder. Those two people are not important members of the Xuanjia family. The core secrets of the Xuanjia family may not be known, and it is reasonable that the information obtained is omitted. But if you can't seal the space passage, the Xians really have a large number of people coming, and the consequences are really worrying. Xianrun still said anxiously, don't worry. This time, I have to set up 3 levels of field. Even if the opponent can crack the tortoiseshell shield, he may not be able to break the other 2. Moreover, one of the fields has been improved by me. I'm afraid there will be no one else to break except me. You'd better urge your Xian family's help and let them come to meet you as soon as possible. Mo said confidently, don't worry, Master Mo Xuanmo will urge you. With these words, Xianrun takes out a message from Xumi commandment and uses his magic. Seeing that Xianrun really inspired the transmission symbol, the old man turned his head and said nothing more. His eyebrows were slightly stretched out, but his eyes were wandering and worried. The journey of tens of thousands of miles did not take long to arrive. More than 2 hours later, the party had already arrived over the abyss. Looking at the extremely calm abyss, the old man's eyes were slightly fixed. He carefully looked at the situation below.
After he was sure that he didn't find any abnormality, he turned his eyes to Xianrun.
Xianrun Taoist friend, how about exploring again with Dingshan beads? Later, the old man said in a deep voice.
Xianrun said with a smile, since Master Mo said so, whether it's useful or not, Xuanmo should do it himself. With these words, Xianrun made a gesture, and 3 white beads came out with him, forming a triangle in the air, giving off a dazzling white light, covering a large area around him. The dazzling white light also radiated to the abyss, making the original foggy abyss as delicate as day. With the rising of white light, the old man of Mo's family fixed his eyes on the pearl, and looked at the large area covered by white light, but still did not find any abnormal situation. Xianrun Taoist friend, please let the children of the Xian family be invisible.
Let's see what it looks like when they are locked in the body beads.
The Mo surname old man's eyes slightly turn, suddenly say to Xianrun. There's no problem with that, of course.
Zuan Runming knew that the other side was suspicious of Ding Shenzhu, but he went back without any change.
Then he asked one of the Xian family's children to step forward and hide his body. The old man, surnamed Mo, stares at the shadow of the Xian family's children's hiding place.
His doubts suddenly go away. It seems that there is no problem with Ding Shenzhu. The problem lies in other aspects.
After confirming this matter, his momentum burst out. A magic power blasted to the abyss, hit the bottom of the abyss and made a loud noise. The soil where he was hit by the magic power blasted splashed everywhere and blasted out a huge pit. Not to mention that, the old man's right index finger and middle finger are together. He points down and flies down with a cold light. It's a tiny sword, but it's magnified by magic power.
It flies down.
The flying sword, like a rotating light, circled and danced below.
It came and went like flying.
It almost swept the whole abyss once.
Then, driven by the old man Mo, it flew back and disappeared.
Should have left. The old man, surnamed Mo, observed carefully again, then nodded. Xianrun's eyes turned slightly and said, Master Mo, you'd better be careful.
He didn't find any abnormality before.
Wei Daoyu was relieved to enter the lower part, so he was ambushed. It's not unreasonable that the Xuanjie friars, who have been in Lanzang Lingyu for tens of thousands of years, are so famous that no one dares to provoke them. The monk Mo looked down at the valley again and said with a sneer, unless they go deep into the ground, I can't be wrong.
Although the Xian family is powerful in the Lanzang spiritual realm, it is only because there is no Xianming sect in the Lanzang spiritual realm.
If there is Xianming sect, the Xian family, even the family inherited from ancient times, may not be able to be the only one. What's more, there were only more than 20 people coming here before.
Why are you afraid? In the end, it's the big gate of Taimanlingyu.
Xuanjia deeply admires its strength. Mo Zong mainly how to do, ask for instructions, the Xian family will try to cooperate, Xianrun said with a smile.
Instead of acting rashly, the old man Mo looked at Xianrun and asked, do you really want to give up this space channel? Won't they make some arrangements?
Xianrun thought for a moment after hearing the speech and said, Xuanmo is not sure about this. Maybe they send someone back to the Lanzang spirit realm to move their hands, or they may all return to the Lanzang spirit realm and then come back after they have enough hands. It may also leave some people to guard here to prevent the space passage from being closed again. Maybe they are very conceited and don't pay attention to us all, but just these people are ready to wipe out Zuanmingzong in our branch of Xuanjia.
It's said that the new owner of the family is a powerful person.
However, the old man, surnamed Mo, slowly shook his head, I don't worry about this man.
I just got some information from soul searching. He recognized a young monk in Longmen realm as his teacher.
This man is very mysterious. He not only has a close relationship with the Holy Wing people in Lanzang spiritual realm, but also killed 2 great monks in Yupu realm with his own cultivation in Longmen realm. I don't think this person can be prevented.
And this? Can the monks in Longmen kill the great monks in Yupu? Is Master Mo joking with me?
Xianrun looked surprised and asked, his face was full of unbelievable expressions.
Xianrun's situation is not fake.
Originally, he just took over Xuanfu's position and became his successor.
Let alone him, even Xuanfu didn't know about it.
Zuanmingzong people directly took Shenzhen and Xianmeng, so a soul thing is also their own. because they are afraid of Xuanji side branch people know too much information and lost the courage to betray Xuanjia, so many things are hidden down. Originally, the people of Xuanmingzong thought that as long as the space passage was sealed and the field power of tortoise shell shield was used, no one would be able to crack even the Xuanjia family in Lansonglingyu. However, it backfired. This time, they were miscalculating. At first, no matter the side branch of Xuanjia or Xuanmingzong thought that no one from Xuanjia could come. In the following series of plans, the power of Xuanjia in Lansonglingyu was not included. But now it's time to face the Xuanjia in Lansonglingyu. Mo Budong, the leader of Xuanmingzong, had to say this question which made him deeply confused. Xianrun was also shocked to hear the news, but he still had some doubts in his heart, and even thought that Mo Budong was making up a lie. Do you really think I'm joking? It's up to you. I just want you to guard against it earlier. From soul searching, we know that Xian Crack is to escort this person to the spirit realm of Luo Tian. I think these people must have this person. But according to my analysis, the method he used to kill the great monk in Yupu realm must pay a great price, and it may only be used once. Otherwise, these escorts would not be needed, and this person had not done anything before, otherwise he would not be able to escape safely with the cultivation of Taoist friends. Mo different analysis. After hearing Mo Budong say this, Xianrun believes it. After all, Mo Budong points out that the monk of Longmen realm has come to the spirit realm of Luo Tian. How can the truth be known? And Mo Budong has no reason to lie about it. Another thing is that although the monk of Longmen realm is in a low level, his means are endless. He broke into the space where the Xuanjia's lineage is located in the Lansang spiritual realm, rescued Xuanxie and others who were put into the prison by the Xuanjia's master, and helped Xuanxie kill Xuanji and regain the position of the master. Moreover, he has a deep relationship with the Xingyi people in the Lansang spiritual realm. What's the reason why the great friars of the Holy Wing are regarded as their ancestors? They don't get the truth in soul searching, but remember that they can't get in touch with the Holy Wing, otherwise we will be restless in the spirit realm of Luo Tian in the future. Mo continued. How can this variable appear? Smell speech Xianrun facial expression a change ground say. No matter what, now that this is the case, next, only our two families can work together to cope with the possible crisis in the future, otherwise no matter who has two hearts, they will be in a hopeless situation. What's more, I suspect that the one who broke the tortoise shell shield is the monk of Longmen realm. Otherwise, what Xuanfu told me before is that the Xians are not proficient in the field, Mo said coldly. How could I lie? If the Xians didn't really make an alliance with Guizhong, how could they betray the Xians? At the moment, it is still important to seal the space channel. If the Xians can't continue to live in Luotian Lingyu, they can't go to Taiman Lingyu, but Guizhong comes from Taiman Lingyu and has no way back. So next, Guizhong has to make more efforts. Xianrun swept one IMO different to say. Well, let's go down now. I'm responsible for setting up the field. The rest of us will protect the Dharma together with the power of Swandayu. At present, the first priority is to seal the space passage, and the rest will be dealt with later. Mo nodded and said. In this way, we of the Xian family will go down first. Xianrun knows that Mo Budong still doesn't trust him very much, so he takes the initiative to say, and then he takes the Xian family's 19 monks to fly down first. Mo Different glanced at the abyss, but also with a wave of his hand, followed Xianrun and others with the 20 monks of Xianming sect. And floating in the air of the beads are also under the control of Xianrun slowly reduced the height to the bottom of the abyss. As Xianrun landed at the bottom of the abyss, he opened his mind and looked around, taking into account the dazzling white light of the pearl, carefully looking for the shadow of the invisible monk. Under the abyss, some of them are very calm. This is the territory that the Xians are in charge of. Xianrun is very familiar with this place. He carefully observes the plants and trees here, but he doesn't find anything unusual. This situation, on the contrary, made him feel a little uneasy, because it was too quiet and abnormal. Did everyone return to the Lansang spiritual realm through the space channel? According to the common sense analysis, if the people directly from the Xuanjia family are still in Luotian Lingyu, they may leave here, and they are bound to keep this space passage. What do you find? Mo behind different speed up, to keep up with Xianrun asked.
I haven't found any abnormality for the time being.
I said before that the Dingshan bead might be broken by the other party by some unknown method and lose its effect.
I can't completely believe the function of the Dingshan bead anymore. The previous lesson has been very painful.
The Xian family lost 12 monks who changed the divine realm, and Guizhong lost 8 of them. All in all, the loss of our Xian family is even greater.
Xian Run frowned and said, "Now it seems that there should be no enemy on the ground. It's probably underground. Just in case, our two families are divided. I'll set up the field. Swandayu is responsible for checking the underground to see if there is anyone hiding below. Once you find the enemy's trace, you don't have to fight. Let me know in time." Mo Different exhorted to say.
"That's it." Xianrun happily agreed, and then waved his hand. The 19 monks behind him gathered forward. The next moment, Xianrun's feet stabbed to the ground, and the whole person disappeared. And so did the 19 monks of the Xian family, who soon disappeared on the ground. Seeing that the people of the Xian family had already used the earth to escape to the underground to check, Mo Budong also waved his hand.
The figure flashed and went deep into the cold pool.
The more than 20 Xianming sect disciples he brought with him went with him without exception. Deep underground, Yi Tian can see the whole process of what happened above through Yuantianian magic power, and he can see more pictures from different angles through the Liangxingkon left outside. But he didn't rush to do it. Although the strength of the other side is scattered, the scope of the bottom of the abyss is not big, and the two sides are very close. Moreover, both the Zuanmingzong and the other members of the Xuanjia family were very cautious and did not even act alone. It's all about you coming together and taking collective action to move forward. About 100 meters underground, Yi Tian gathered with 22 children of the Xian family, including Xianjun and Xianmeng. All their thoughts were not released, but stayed there quietly.
Only Yi Tian could observe the situation outside through Yuantianian and several Liangxingkon left in the secret place of the abyss.
Although he could not hear what those people said during their stay in the abyss, from their current actions, it can be seen that those people still had a caution to the underground.
Don't act rashly. Now there are 20 people from the Xian family searching underground. There are still 7 or 8 meters away from here. Listen to my orders at any time.
Yi Tian calmly observed the situation above and sent out a reminder to everyone.
There's no problem. Now the enemy situation is temporarily relieved.
After the 20 members of the Xian family went more than 30 meters underground, they didn't search deeper, but horizontally. Soon, Yi Tian sent out the other party's real-time broadcast again.
This makes Yi Tian feel very confused.
It seems that the children of the Xian family are just making a show, not to mention the distance of more than 30 meters. Even if the other party goes further 30 meters, he will definitely direct the 22 people to avoid a distance. Unless there is an absolutely good chance, it will not scare the snake and make a move at will. On the other side, at the entrance of the space passage in the depth of the cold pool, Yi Tian has seen the leading monk of Xianming sect preparing to arrange the materials of the field nearby, while the rest of the people are scattered around. Although he has not found any enemy, he is still on guard, like a great enemy. Yi Tian frowns slightly and thinks about the next step. He is a master who doesn't know the field. He knows that the more complex and tough the field is, the more complex it will take. In a period of time, he is not worried about the other party's successful arrangement. In other words, if he can arrange a successful field in a period of time, Yi Tian will surely be able to break it easily. Now is not the best out of the mobile phone will, if forced attack is likely to bring casualties on his side, this is Yi Tian do not want to see. What's more, it's really strange for the side branch of the Xian family to act.
Yi Tian doesn't know what they mean for the time being.
Wait patiently.
No one is allowed to act rashly until I come back.
A moment later, Yi Tian saw that more than 20 friars of the Xian family had searched the underground within 30 meters nearby. After finding nothing, he escaped from the underground and flew to the canyon to be on guard. Yi Tian then whispered a word to the friars on his side at the same time, and then quietly performed the skill of earth escaping and escaped horizontally in the underground. After escaping for more than 30 miles, Yi Tian Kai adjusted his direction and went up stealthily towards the ground.
When he got out of the ground, he opened his mind and began to observe the situation of the abyss. Yi Tian's unscrupulous spirit investigation immediately arouses Shenron's vigilance. At this time, Yi Tian shows his figure when Shenron looks at him.
Monk of Longmen Realm, is this the one who can kill Yupu Realm as Mo Diffing said? Shenron looks at Yi Tian and murmurs. He did not act arbitrarily, but instead of simultaneous interpreting the different kinds of voices in the cold pond, he said, Mo Zone, a 30-year-old Longmen monk who found out from the underground soil is the man who killed the Jade Master in the Jade Plains.
Yes, I know from memory that it's this man.
Immediately, in Shenron's ear, Mo Butong's voice was as thin as a gnat. This man should be limited in his powerful means, or he can't do it anymore, otherwise he doesn't have to hide his head and show his tail there, just kill him directly.
Suandeu, send someone to find out.
Shenron hesitated and said, Master Mo, this man should not be worried.
However, what he means when he appears here remains to be considered.
If Xuanxie uses this man as a bait to lure us to divide our hands and adopt the strategy of breaking each one down, I'm afraid only one person will be sent to meet the other's plan. Then you can deal with it by yourself.
I can't be too distracted when I set up the array.
Please don't damage your hands.
Soon, I would like to come back with a little consideration.
Hearing Mo Diffing's voice again, Shenron said again, let's go over and have a look. If there's any situation, we can take care of it. With that, Shenron waved to his 20 monks, put away the beads and flew to the direction of Yi Tian.
The group ran very fast.
The distance of more than 30 li was almost in the blink of an eye.
However, Yi Tian suddenly disappeared from the original place before the other party arrived.
Watch out!
Shenron's body suddenly flew up, far away from the position where Yi Tian disappeared.
At the same time, he made a gesture and released the pearl again. The white light suddenly shone on a large area around him. Unfortunately, people in the white light ranged to find the shadow of Yi Tian, but nothing. At this time, Yi Tian has spread his wings and returned to the abyss.
The boulder just now is like a pool of stagnant water.
The only way is to muddle the stagnant water and break the deadlock.
No matter how to stir, as long as the other party moves.
Yi Tian only found the Tian Linji in the cave a few times, and had returned to the top of the abyss. Then he fell straight down into the soil, and returned to the hiding place of Shenmeng and Shenjun.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'll use some means to plot against the monks of Shenming sect. You can wait for the opportunity to act. If you are not absolutely sure, don't fight first.
Especially, don't fight with the other side. After a successful attack, you can hide and leave immediately and wait for the opportunity to do it again.
Yi Tian once again, to convey his intention.
Then, he used his Tuduan to escape to the cold pool. When he was near the cold pool, he continued to hide and escape to the ground.
Yi Tian's hidden killing technique has reached the peak, and the 5 elements Taoist technique has also reached the peak.
Even the many monks of Shenming sect who changed the divine realm have not noticed it. Come to the ground, Yi Tian quietly close to the cold pool. There used to be Shenrun people guarding over the cold pool, but they have been transferred away by Yi Tian, and now they are in a vacuum, and the monks of Shenming sect are all in the pool, and have no time to care about the ground. When there is no one to defend here, Yi Tian stealthily sneaks to the edge of the cold pool. With a gesture, more than 30 black balls are taken out of Shumi ring and put into the cold pool. At the moment when the black ball enters the water, Yi Tian has left here with a heavenly wing behind him, hiding his body and escaping to the ground. Those black balls dissolve like water, disappear into the invisible, and the originally clear water suddenly becomes pitch black. Then, in the cold pool, the water column rose to the sky, and one by one figures burst out of the water. They were the monks of Shenming sect.
Among them, the leader of Shenming sect is Immortal.
What the hell?
Mo different body in the air, staring at the dark pool below, eyes particularly sinister. Isn't the bravado of the dark crack group preventing us from setting up the field?
These black water are just eyes. The friar next to him also guessed, staring at the dark pool. Suddenly, when he looked up at Immortal, he suddenly exclaimed, Master Mo, your face?
No, there is corpse poison.
Immortal's face suddenly changed, and his eyes showed a look of panic. He didn't have to look at his own face, but he could guess his own face from the situation on other people's faces. At this time, the faces of the monks who came out of the pool with him gradually turned black, and their skin began to fester. Red and black blood was slowly flowing out of the broken skin. How terrible was it? Not only on his face, but also on his exposed hands, which is the same as on his face. Moreover, he still feels a dull pain on his body, like a pain in the heart of a cone, like a cramp in the skin. The feeling of pain starts to spread from all parts of his body and converges to his brain.
It's really maddening.
Immortal immediately took out a jade bottle from Zumaji and poured the pills into his mouth. After pouring all the pills into his mouth, he threw the jade bottle and cried out, "It's not only the corpse poison, but also other strange things.
It seems that there are living creatures in it.
All the antidote pills have been used up. You can use them on the spot with these words." Mo Dithing yelled at the distance, "Swandeo, go back to the abyss to protect the Dharma."
This cry, Mo different mobilized great mana, just like thunder rolling in the sky, and spread far away.
Even many of the same religious monks around him felt deafening, but they had no mind to hum their heads, because there was a force that made them crazy and almost lost their sense. Many friars, struggling with the fear and terrible pain in their hearts, quickly took out the elixir and put it into their mouth.
Only some of the high-level friars could successfully take the elixir down.
A monk of Xianming sect, who had only been in the early stage of the transformation of the divine realm, had lost control. He was crazy and his eyes were full of blood, just like a demon. Wildly waving his flying sword, he chopped at a companion nearby.
"Younger martial brother Do, what are you going to do?"
Seeing this, the friar was so frightened that he didn't care to do his best to force poison. He shot away in the distance and avoided the man's crazy attack. But the monk didn't succeed, but he became even more crazy.
He began to wave his flying sword wantonly and cut off every person.
Although they were in a mess, they dodged everywhere. However, the man kept howling and madly chased the nearest monk. When everyone thought that the person who was being chased would still get out of the way, he waved his sword to fight with the monk named Do.
"Younger martial brother's son. You!"
Someone yelled, but the friar's surnamed son came back to chase this man.
"Everyone is looking for their own place. I know what the living creature is. It's a corpse devil worm. All the people of Xianming sect should not meet each other.
They should be separated to avoid being killed by corpses, demons and insects.
Reason will kill each other. Don't try to resist the madness in your heart. After shouting, you will run away."
Most of the other monks of Xianming sect did the same. They chose a direction and separated from each other. However, above the abyss, there are still 3 monks of Xianming sect who are not leaving. Instead, they fight together and attack madly. They have no feeling of the same sect, just like enemies of life and death. By this time, they had completely lost their senses. Hearing the sound, Xianrun and others, who came back more than 10 miles away, stopped in amazement and were almost stunned by the scene above the abyss.
"Get out of here!"
All of a sudden, Xianrun gave a big drink and took the lead in flying high into the air.
The other 20 monks of the spirit realm also followed him to fly high into the air.
Because in the direction of the abyss, there were 2 monks of the Xianming sect flying towards them like crazy, waving their flying swords in their hands. They looked like they saw the great hatred of life and death. Although Xianrun and others didn't need much effort to kill the 2 Xianming monks, the other side obviously lost his mind, and it was meaningless to fight with them. And the other side has lost their senses. Once they completely used the game of losing both sides, even a little bit of injury is not worth it.
It's better to stay away.
Seeing Xianrun and others fleeing away, the 2 monks of Xuanmingzong screamed wildly. They were about to chase Xianrun, but they found each other. They were like blood feuds. They rushed to each other with red eyes and fought madly. Under the soil, Tian looked at the scene in front of him, and he was stunned. Seeing you like this, he can't help but feel a little scared. The black ball he used was just the thing that Bisho, the demon emperor, was going to use to deal with the warriors in the Xinhua plunder pool. At that time, Tian had recognized the corpse poison and the corpse devil insect, but they were definitely more vicious and more powerful than the 2 things he knew. If those looting warriors were really poisoned, under the circumstances at that time, the number of people poisoned was so large that it was impossible to save them all.
Because there are too many people, even if Tian can make pills, he can't make as many.
By then, it will definitely be a tragedy for the human friars.
Fortunately, Bai Xiu was finally killed by Yan Lai.
Otherwise, who knows if such a thing will happen in the future.
Shen Meng, Shen Jun and others could not have heard such a big movement over the abyss.
However, they did not know the whole process of the incident, and did not know what had happened. They just knew that there had been a major change. They did not dare to release their thoughts at will for fear that one might accidentally expose the whereabouts of themselves and others.
Just as they were waiting anxiously, they suddenly heard Yi Tian's voice. Well, things are more smooth than I imagined. Let's go up now.
All the people were stunned, so they went up like this? They all thought it would be Yi Tian's order to launch an attack, but the fact is quite different. In their stupefied time, Yi Tian has moved to the ground, and everyone has to follow Yi Tian, and only when he gets out of the ground can he stop. At this time, they were still invisible. A bloody corpse was falling from the sky, and another corpse was on the ground.
It was so miserable that they were used to many bloody scenes.
In the sky, there is only one monk in Xianming sect, but he is not a complete monk. Instead, he has lost half of his body, only one hand is still holding the sword, howling in his mouth, waving the flying sword wildly and attacking aimlessly.
Kill this man. Don't get splashed with blood.
Seeing this, Yi Tian said with a cool look. Shen Meng, who had already choked his evil breath, heard Yi Tian's order, and suddenly a layer of earth armor appeared on his body. Then he shot it out, and the sword in his hand flashed cold light and cut the other side in half.
2 corpses splashed with blood and fell down.
The children of the Xians, who had been hit by the attack, swung out their magic power quickly. They fell away from a distance and hit the cold pool, splashing a large black water.
Master Yi, what's the matter?
The children of the Xian family were surprised to see that the water, which was clear and bottomed out before entering the underground, had turned into such a shape. Shen Jun and Yi Tian knew each other better and asked directly.
Yi Tian took a look at the 2 corpses on the ground, and said in a cold voice,
the monks of Xianming sect want to close the entrance of the space passage, but they are too confident to arrange their own people to protect the Dharma above the cold pool, so I added some materials to the pool by the way. In this way, the monks of Xianming sect were not only poisoned by corpses, but also attacked by corpse demons. Even if they were not crazy, they had lost their fighting power.
Nothing to be feared. Only the *** is the only one who is still a strong enemy.
Corpse bug?
It's an extremely rare poisonous insect.
I didn't expect that Master Yi had this kind of insect. Obviously, one of the children of the Xian family had heard of the corpse devil insect.
When Yi Tian finished, he couldn't help exclaiming.
Yi Tian nodded at random and said, I got some by chance. I didn't think it could be used, but some things happen to be used by people of Xianming sect. This corpse poison and corpse devil insect are extremely vicious, and the poison is so fierce. The corpse poison can quickly break the friar's skin, and the corpse devil worm will invade the human body and enter the mind.
It's impossible to prevent.
If you see that the water in the cold pool is full of these 2 poisons, in order to prevent someone from coming from the space channel and entering the pool by mistake, you should put the pool away as soon as possible.
With these words, Yi Tian took out 22 Shumi commandments and gave each one.
All of the people immediately knew what they wanted to do, and then they asked him to confess the Lord. Then they gathered the magic power to pour the dark pool of water into the 22 commandment. After that, all the water had not been collected. Although corpse poison and corpse devil insect are extremely vicious, how can they use the same thing? What's the difference between this poison and swords? They are all used to kill enemies. As long as it's not used to deal with the innocent people, it's not harmful to the common people. Yi Tian doesn't have any psychological burden to use it. Although I can't think of where to use these pools now, and there are still many black spheres in Shumi commandment, it's better not to waste them as a scarce resource. After a short time, the deep cold pool water has been collected by people, revealing a round transparent shield. This shield was originally arranged by Xuanjia, which can prevent a large number of water from entering the space channel, but it cannot prevent the water from entering the space channel. Up to now, Tian doesn't know whether the space channel naturally opened in the cold pool, or whether there was a space channel first, and then Xuanjia planted the cold pool to cover up the existence of the space channel. Through the transparent shield, Tian sees that there are many materials in it that can't be put away. He moves his figure, moves his hand on the shield several times, and then moves forward. Unexpectedly, he steps into the transparent shield. Looking at Tian's figure collecting the array materials inside, the Xuanjia friars were deeply impressed, especially the 6 monks who had more contact with Tian. They seemed to feel that nothing could embarrass Tian, and they always surprised people in the desperate situation. In the face of tortoise-shell shield field, the same is true for the monks of Xianming sect, not to mention rescuing Xuanjia from the Xuanjia space. Later, he miraculously helped Xuanjia win the title of homeowner, and was even regarded as the ancestor by the great friars of Xingyi clan. Tian quickly put a lot of field materials into Xumi ring, and then he flashed through the transparent shield and came out of it. Shenjun Daoyu, I didn't expect that things would go so smoothly in dealing with Xianming sect. Now the monks of Xianming sect's spiritual realm have been unable to protect themselves. The rest of them should not be worried. Only the side branches of Xianming sect and the rest of them should not fight. You can return to Lansang spiritual realm from the space channel, and wait for Yuangshuangxi and Yunzhong there, so that they don't have to bring too many people, so as not to shorten the service life of the space channel. According to my estimation, at most 30 monks in the realm of God are enough.
When he comes to the crowd, Tian says to Xianjun,
Since Mr. Yi has something to say, I'll return from the space channel and return every word of Mr. Yi's words to the homeowner in Mr. Yun. Xianjun smelled speech, to Tian Baoquan said, then turned to the transparent shield. According to Tian's appearance, he brushed the shield a few times, and then walked forward, trying to go through the shield to the entrance of the space passage. But he just took a step, not only failed to pass through the transparent shield, but also hit the shield and bounced back a few steps. It looks simple, but the mystery inside is very deep.
Xianjun smiles awkwardly and looks at Tian, please send me there.
Tian came to the transparent shield again, still seemed to be very casual to brush a few times, and then said, can pass.
Hearing the words, Xianjun took a few steps forward.
As expected, he passed through the shield and went inside.
Absolutely.
Xianjun hugged Tian and turned to enter the space channel, which was soon submerged in the dense gray clouds.
The next thing, you are waiting in the neighborhood quietly. Everything will be dealt with only after Xuanxie and Yunzhong come back. With that, Tian's figure flashed and disappeared out of thin air.
Xianmeng and others had already had experience. They hid in the cold pool and began to wait quietly. After what happened before, there were no more Xuanmingzong and other members of the Xuanjia family coming, and the past peace was restored near the abyss.
But Tian didn't stop all the time.
His eyes were shining from the sky, and he carefully observed all sides, so as not to be sneaked nearby by the invisible monk of Xian family. Sure enough, in less than an hour, Tian suddenly found out that he had been sitting on a big stone with his knees crossed and suddenly stood up. Under the light of Tian's eyes, he saw that the monk named Xianrun was coming stealthily. He was very careful.
The target was the location of the cold pool.
However, at a distance of tens of feet from the cold pool, Xianrun suddenly stopped and called out in a low voice, members of the Xian family, please come out and speak.
I'm Xianrun. Now I'm acting as the local collateral branch of the family. I've come to contact you and have something to tell you.
After a few shouts, Xianrun didn't hear any response, so he showed his figure and looked left and right toward the cold pool. When he was less than 10 feet away from the cold pool, he stopped again and continued to say in a very low voice, fellow people, I have to come here at great risk.
What you have seen before may not be true. It's not the original intention that Xuanmo and Xuanmingzong got mixed up.
As soon as his voice fell, his face turned to one side. Because where his eyes could reach, there were more than 10 figures around him, which surrounded him. However, in a very short time, his face returned to normal, and he said to the children of the Xians who surrounded him, Xianrun is the same as the Xians, and Xianrun is always with the Xians. Xuanfu was bewitched by the Xianming sect and intended to betray the Xians, but Xianrun was helpless. Besides, there are many children who don't want to betray the Xian family. As you can see, Xianran and the people of Xuanmingzong came here together to use hypothetical body beads.
Only in this way can you create the illusion that you are not here and create the opportunity to kill at one stroke. All of you are good-looking people. If you really set your body on pearls and jade, you will know it at a glance. With these words, Xianran made a gesture and threw 3 white beads at one of the Xian family's children. Then he threw out 3 white beads. The hypothetical body beads before, the real body beads behind, you can identify 1 or 2, you will know whether what Xianran said is true. Do not identify, you say is true or false, ye naturally have a way to judge. Many of the children of the Xian family didn't speak, but they just caught the beads and still surrounded Xianran tightly. But at this time, a young monk appeared behind them. It's Yi Tian.
This method is to search your soul.
Ye won't believe your mouth, but only your memory.
If it's true as you said, naturally you are the hero of the Xuanjia family.
If it's not,
you'll suffer from it.
Who are you? I'm here to talk to your elders. What qualifications do you have to give directions here? Search my soul? You're a little monk in Longmen, and you deserve it?
Yi Tian's words make Xianran furious immediately. In front of the monks of Xuanjia, he dare not show any arrogance, but in the face of a monk of Longmen realm, his momentum as a monk of Xinjing immediately burst out. Although Imo Budong told him something about this monk in Longmen realm, he still didn't dare to believe it. The most important thing is that he always thought that the monks in Longmen realm were the ones in charge of Xuanjia. This is the heaven of Xuanjia, and Yi Tian always called himself Yi, so he was not polite. As soon as he finished, a strange expression appeared on Yi Tian's face, and Xianmeng immediately got angry and said, Xianrun, no matter what your mind was before, it's a great sin for you to speak to Ye's elder like this.
Do you know who Mr. Yi is? It's the master of the family. You have such an attitude. Don't redeem yourself for death.
What?
Master of the family? How is that possible? He's just in Longmen.
This news is not different, but did not speak to Xianrun, suddenly heard, his face changed, shocked to see Yi Tian. At this time, Yi Tian said with no expression, Xianrun, his words are abrupt.
You won't blame him for it, but if you don't allow soul searching, you will be killed.
If after soul searching, as you said, you always remain loyal to the Xuanjia lineage, join hands with Xuanmingzong, betray the Xuanjia lineage has nothing to do with you, and you will be innocent.
You can choose between the two. Hearing the words, Xianrun's face changed and he said in a loud voice, Master Yi, people have dignity, especially our friars.
Who doesn't have some privacy, but I, Xianrun, am loyal to the Xian's lineage and never have a second heart. If you really want to search for the soul in spite of our dignity, I'd rather die than surrender. Go ahead, search for the soul. No matter whether you are disabled or disabled, just live.
Yi Tian was not moved by the other party's words and said with a wave.
Wait a minute, don't search the soul, I said.
With a word from Yi Tian, the Xian family's children who surround Xianrun immediately burst into action. They feel that Xianrun, who is extremely dangerous, immediately drinks.
Needless to say, Xianmeng. Soul searching. But Yi Tian didn't listen to what he wanted to say behind him and continued to drink coldly.
Good.
You search, but don't hurt me.
It's not easy to cultivate to this realm, and I Xianrun helped you anyway. Xianrun's face changed and said quickly.
Xianmeng didn't hear anything, but his figure flashed to Xianrun, don't move, I'll close your cultivation for the time being. If you resist, you will be slightly disabled, or severely disabled. Xianrun's face changed again, and he closed his eyes, for the sake of the same race, don't hurt Xuanmo. If you cooperate enough, I will only search for the soul, and the rest will be decided by Mr. Yi. If you ask for it, please ask Mr. Yi. Xianmeng said in his mouth. His hand was like electricity, and he put several magic powers into Xianrun's body. Xianrun's face showed a trace of pain, but he still gritted his teeth. At this time, Xuanmeng's right palm had been pressed on his head.
When Xianmeng was searching for his soul, Xianrun's expression was extremely complicated, and he hesitated to resist.
When he realized that his cultivation had been closed by Xianmeng, he showed a helpless expression. Yi Tian always looks on with cold eyes and waits quietly. Meanwhile, Yuan Tian's eyes shine through and observe the situation around him. More than half an hour later, Xuanmeng's hand finally left Xianrun's head, took a cold look at Xianrun, and flew to Yi Tian. Master Yi, according to the memory of soul-searching, this Xianrun belongs to the strong head grass with two sides. Originally, what the Xian family's side branch did had nothing to do with him. The thing that he colluded with Xuanmingzong to betray the Xian family's lineage was really the original master's own idea. He didn't think that if there was civil strife in the Xian family, he might have the energy to ask about the affairs of Luo Tian's spiritual realm. Xuanmingzong was good at the field and was able to arrange tortoise-shell shield, which could block the Xuanjia family in the Lancang spirit field. That's why he took this step.
After Xianrun took over the Xuanjia family, he knew that the Xuanjia lineage of Lancang Lingyu had entered the Luotian Lingyu.
He was still quite afraid of the Xuanjia family, but he had a fantasy that Xuanmingzong could rearrange the field and block the Lancang Lingyu Xuanjia from entering the Luotian Lingyu. On the one hand, he openly colluded with Xianming sect, but on the other hand, he secretly wanted to weaken the power of Xianming sect with the help of us, so that in the future, the side branch of the Xianming family could dominate the Xianming sect. So I used the supposition body bead to wean the people of Xianming sect. He not only wants to use Xuanmingzong to set up the field, but also plans to use what Xuanmingzong has done to get rid of the guilt after breaking through the field again, so as to gain the trust of the Xian family and take charge of the side branch of the Xian family in Luotian Lingjia. Xianmeng didn't deliberately suppress his voice.
Xianrun listened to everything he said.
Hearing this, he said in a loud voice, Master Yi Mingjian, no matter what I think, I didn't do anything to damage the Xians. On the contrary, because I used jotting beads to deceive the Xuanmingzong people, you can take advantage of it, kill them all. At that time, even if Xian had some ambivalence, he just wanted to have more power. He didn't mean to hurt his family. Please forgive me for that. Explain this to the master of the Xian family. How he deals with it is a matter of the Xian family. Yi is only responsible for finding out the truth. Now please shut up, don't say one more word, otherwise. Yi Tianling snorted, then turned to Xianmeng and asked, about Xianming sect, how much information have you got? Do you have any further information to the space channel of time and spirit realm? Most of the monks in Xianming sect have been poisoned, but the follow-up situation of Xianrun is not very clear.
Xianrun didn't know much about time and Lingyu space channel, and the specific location couldn't be determined. But the location of the immortal tomb is known. Xianmeng came back.
Yi Tian nodded slightly. It seems that the thing about the space passage can only be understood by the people of Xianming sect. In the end, it can only be understood by the people of Xianming sect. This man is in the bag of spirit beast. When old 14 comes back, let him deal with it. With that, Yi Tian's figure disappears from the original place, and Xianmeng takes out a spirit beast bag. Whether Xianrun wants to or not, he sends it in. Invisible Yi Tian swallows a pill, sits on a big stone beside the cold pool and begins to refine the medicine. Of course, the cold pool is just a deep pit, and all the water in it is collected by Yi Tian. The rest of the children of the Xian family also used the same technique of concealment. They searched for places and began to guard the space passage in front of them. On the surface, it seemed as if there was no one here at all. Time passed bit by bit. In the process of refining medicine, the time of the day passed in a twinkling of an eye. At a certain moment, there was a strong stirring force of space at the entrance of the originally quiet space passage. With the flash of the human figure, the dark crack flew out quickly from inside. The transparent shield at the entrance of the space passage only prevents the cold pool water from pouring into the space passage, but it does not affect the flying out from the space passage. Behind the dark crack are dozens of figures, and the last one who comes out from inside is Yun Zhong. Master, we are back. See Yi Tian appear and come out. Shen Crack and Cloud Zhong greet at the same time. Yi Tian nodded slightly and glanced at them. There were about 30 people who were brought by them. All of them were the cultivation of transforming the divine realm. Xian Jun, who used to report the news, was also among them. Shifu has worked hard. What's the situation here? Xian Crack also looked at the children of Xian family and Yun family who appeared one after another and asked. Xian Jun must have told you what happened before. When he left, we captured Xian Run, the principal trusted by the side branch, and let Xian Meng release him.
It's also convenient for you to deal with the side branch of the Xian family. With Yi Tian's voice, Xian Meng moves and takes Xian Run out of the spirit beast bag. Xian Run, old man Xuanxie, master of Xuanjia, do you know the sin?
Looking at Xian Run, who had been closed, Xuanxie asked aloud. Master, Xian Run is guilty, because Xian Run doesn't damage the interests of Xuanjia.
Please forgive me. See Xian Crack, Xian Run ordinary knelt down. Guilty and innocent, forgive or not, wait until I search for my soul. Now all you have to do is shut up.
Xian Crack cold humme, the palm has already pressed Xian Run's top of the head.
Xian Run had a bitter face, but there was no way.
He had never been searched in his life, but this time he was searched twice in succession. After a while, the palm of Xian Crack moved away from the top of Xian Run's head.
With a cold look, he snorted angrily, opportunistic guy, if you still want to be good at both sides, how can the Xian family trust you anymore and continue to be imprisoned in the spirit beast bag, and then release it in the future? Xian Meng agrees. He doesn't wait for Xian Run to explain anything. His mind locks Xian Run. The next moment, Xian Run has disappeared from the original place.
After pondering for a moment, Xuanxie said to Yi Tian, Master should have known about the general situation.
Now we have enough people.
Our disciples are ready to take the strategy of driving away the wolves and tigers, recover the side branches of the Xian family first, and then drive them to deal with Xuanmingzong. In this way, we can see who can continue to work for the Xians and who can give up. In this way, you can use the Xuanjia lineage and the Yunjia children, so you don't have to fight in person.
What do you think, Master?
Yi Tian touched his chin with his hand. After he was familiar with it, he shook his head with a smile. Old 14, being a teacher is slightly different from your idea. In my opinion, the side branch of the Xuanjia family does not pose a threat to the Xuanjia lineage, but there are still variables in Xuanmingzong.
Now they have searched the soul of the two monks, Xuanjiawa and Yuanyingjing. However, as far as they know, their understanding of Xuanmingzong is very limited. I'm afraid Xuanmingzong is not so simple. If we solve the problem of Xuanmingzong first, the affairs of Xuanmingzong's side branches will be solved naturally. It's very simple to distinguish their loyalty and adultery. You have enough time to do it.
What Master said is reasonable, because the disciples are short-sighted, so they go to the place where Tianlongmen is to end the remaining evils of Xuanmingzong.
Thanks to Shifu, I didn't expect that Shifu could easily outweed Xuanmingzong without fighting.
If I were a disciple, I'm afraid it would be a bloody battle, and the result would only be 5 or 5.
Xuanxie nodded happily. Don't flatter. It's important to get down to business.
Say words, Leaf Day gesture a move to release Dun Tiansua. The disciple has already found out the location of Tianlongmen, so he will lead the way ahead. Seeing that Yi Tian ascended to Dun Tiansua and didn't move in any direction, Xuanxie knew that Yi Tian might not know where he was going, so he said, chose a direction and flew away quickly. The rest of the children of the Xian family are following behind the Xian Crack, and dare not slow down a little. However, the people who came with Xuanxie were paying attention to Yi Tian. Most of them saw the magic weapon of Dun Tiansua for the first time. They couldn't help but wonder how Yi Tian, who had only the cultivation of Dragon Dream, could keep up with them. But see Yi Tian, a magic hit on Dun Tiansua into a streamer, in a moment has caught up with the brigade, unexpectedly don't need them to slow down. Although Xuanxie knew the limit speed of Dun Tiansua, he didn't let go of the fastest speed, but this speed was the speed of transforming the divine realm after all, even the fastest Yuanying realm couldn't keep up. Those people are a little surprised, can't help but look at Dun Tiansua a few more eyes. If a magic weapon can achieve such a speed, it is absolutely a treasure against heaven. Although the flying swords of these friars can also fly, they are all driven by mana. Long-distance flight will consume a lot of mana. Xian Crack see Yi Tian with relaxed, then accelerated some speed. Yi Tianxi doesn't care. He sits in Dun Tiansua's cabin with his knees crossed. He presses his palm on a rune on Dun Tiansua's head. Dun Tiansua's speed is obviously faster than the blessing of mana. He even keeps up with the mysterious Crack group. The children of the Xian family were even more surprised, especially the appearance of Xuanxia's respectful attitude towards Yi Tian, which made them full of doubts. But just because of this, they did not dare to show any disrespect to Yi Tian.
After a day and a night, the group of people flew fast. At last, the speed of Xuanxia slowed down. Master, there is Tianlong Mountain ahead. Tianlong Gate is more than 1,000 miles away from Tianlong Mountain. Wait for Yi Tian to fly to near front, Xian Crack introduction way. Everyone, stealth flight. Yi Tian looks at the towering mountains in the distance and shouts. Xuanxia, Xianjun and others immediately went into a state of invisibility. However, when some of the second generation of Xuanjia children were stunned, Xuanxia said, all the Xuanjia children, pay attention.
What my master said is just like my command. If there is a conflict between master and my command, just follow my master. The children of the Xian family were stunned because they were speaking to Yi Tian instead of Xian Xia, so they didn't know whether they wanted to listen to him immediately. When Xian Xia said that, they didn't hesitate anymore, but immediately entered the invisible state.
However, in my heart, I was secretly surprised that Yi Tian and Longman could make the owner so convinced. When the two orders conflict, Yi Tian's order should prevail. They can't help but want to see with their own eyes what ability Yi Tian has in the end, which can make the dark crack reach such a level. The distance of thousands of miles is really a short distance for Washinjing, but not long after, the temple buildings on Tianlong Mountain have already caught people's eyes. Even some figures on the mountain can be seen clearly. Hold on, stop going. Yi Tian, who was on the escape shuttle, suddenly let out a loud drink.
The mysterious crack in the fast flight quickly stopped and came to Yi Tian's side.
He asked, Master, what do you find?
Yi Tian narrowed his eyes slightly, looked at the distance and said, it seems that the people of Xianning sect are really unusual. They can set up such a powerful field.
Xuanxia looks at Yi Tian's eyes, but he sees nothing.
He knows that there are some things Yi Tian can see, but he can't see them. Seeing Yi Tian's dignified expression, he can't help but feel awe in his heart. Master, what is the field? Yi Tian said slightly, even if you don't ask, I will tell you. This field is called the Ghost Field. It's a very erysipelas field. It takes people's souls and arranges them into rune patterns. It has three functions, maze array, magic array, and kill array. If the ordinary friars get into it by mistake, and if they don't have enough concentration, the best result is that they are trapped in it and can't get out. If the cultivation is a little weaker, it will fall into it. This field is surrounded by Tianlongmen. I'm afraid it takes more than 1 million ghosts to set it up. Every ghost, originally a living life, can only be arrayed after their special treatment, otherwise the ready-made ghost cannot be completed. This Xianming sect is so insidious that it deserves to die. When Yi Tian said this, his eyes were cold, and his fists were tightly clasped together.
He was obviously very angry. Damn Zuanmingzong. Xuanxie and Yunzhong also looked cold, and their eyes were full of anger. Master, it must be very difficult to break this ghost realm because it is so terrible? Seeing that Yi Tian was still looking forward, frowning and meditating, Xian Crack couldn't help saying, Master, do you have a way to break it? Yi Tian did not speak, still continued to look forward. Suddenly look a change, a big drink, fast retreat. Just as he yelled, and before everyone could react, Yi Tian felt that the color before his eyes had changed. There were bright red colors everywhere. At his feet was a boundless sea of blood, surrounded by clouds, mixed with the sound of crying and howling. And the children of Xian family, such as Xian Crack, have disappeared, and they can't even sense the breath. What a cunning Zuanmingzong! Yi Tian murmured a word, gesture move, a golden ball appeared out of thin air, then the mana urged to fly in the air. The golden ball gives out dazzling golden light, and at the same time, it gives out bursts of Sanskrit chants. Where it passes, not only the bright red sea of blood disappears, but also the thick clouds disappear, showing the original scenery of blue sky and green mountains. In this broken environment, Yi Tian saw that Xuanxie and others were not far away from him, and they also showed their bodies, but each face was pale. Sure Fu. Seeing Yi Tian's figure, Xian Crack immediately flew over, and the rest of the Xian family's children also followed. Master, what's going on? To Yi Tian's side,
Xian crack expression slightly calmed some, then asked. As Yi Tian manipulated the golden ball to resist the invasion of the environment and create a safe space, he said, I underestimated the insidious of Xianming sect. There are 3 ways to arrange this kind of ghost realm. The first is the bright realm, the second is the dark realm, and the third is the mixture of the bright realm and the dark realm.
Mingyu is already very insidious. It's extremely powerful, but it's a little less powerful than the dark domain. The most powerful is the combination of Mingyu and dark domain.
In addition to the different arrangement methods, the more powerful the field is, the more ghosts it needs. Such a mixed arrangement of light field and dark field requires at least tens of millions of ghosts, that is thousands of creatures. Generally speaking, the bright field has traces to follow, but if the dark field is not activated, it is as if it has not been set up, and it is impossible to find it, unless the person who set up the field himself. The Leaf Day side explains, the vision also sweeps the Xian crack and so on, discover the number of a many, this just slightly relieved some.
Master, what kind of magic weapon is it that can break such a powerful ghost realm?
Listening to the calming Buddhist chant, I watched the vast golden light wash away the clouds of the blood sea, and asked in surprise. However, the expression on Yi Tian's face was still dignified. He looked around and said slowly, this treasure was obtained by my teacher unintentionally on the Earth Star. It's a treasure of the Vatican sect. But if you can break the ghost realm with this treasure, you will underestimate it. As a teacher, you can only guarantee that you will not be hurt in the ghost realm. It's not enough to break the ghost realm. This golden ball is exactly what Yi Tian got from Master Dabii when he saved on Yuan Mountain. So far, he has not used it for a long time. I had thought of using this bead when I was thinking about breaking the ghost realm. But I didn't have absolute assurance when I thought about the power of the ghost realm. I wanted to try it first, but I didn't think that the people of Xianming sect had started the dark realm. When Yi Tian was concentrating on observing the maximum effect of the golden ball, he suddenly heard an ethereal voice, Monk Xian, listen, I'm the elder of Xianming sect. Originally, Xianming sect had nothing to do with the Xuanjia family in Longsonglingyu. There was no injustice or hatred between Xianming sect and the Xuanjia family. My sect was just a side branch of Xianming sect. You Xians have to get involved in this fight, and use despicable means to hurt our Xuanmingzong disciples with corpse poison and corpse devil insect. Today, I will hand over the antidote or tell you how to get rid of these 2 poisons. I can let you out and go back to the Lansong spiritual realm. From then on, the 2 will not offend each other. Otherwise, although you have this little magic weapon, you can't break the ghost realm. This voice is ethereal and has no sense of direction. Even Yi Tian can't judge the location of the speaker from his voice, let alone see the speaker from the vast sea of blood. However, Yi Tian can feel that this man is more powerful than the leader of Xianming sect. Does he call himself the elder of Xianming sect? Does that mean there are 2 or 3 elders in Xianming sect? Let alone Yi Tian has no antidote to solve these 2 poisons for the time being. Even if he knows how to solve them, he can't tell Xuanmingzong. If so many of the other side's monks restored their accomplishments, it would not be a good thing for the Xian family. Now that the 2 sides have formed a deadly feud, it is an endless situation. What's more, if we want to set up such a dark and light combination of the ghost realm, the number of creatures will be huge. If we give Xianming sect enough time, their ghost realm will gradually expand. I'm afraid that more people will suffer in Lansong spirit realm. No matter from which point of view, Yi Tian cannot give up. Didn't you hear me? Or do you think the ghost world can't help you? Then I'll show you the power of the ghost? The voice became colder and colder. As soon as the words were finished, the sound of crying and howling around was loud. The cloud that had been forced to retreat by the golden light swept from all directions, oppressing the golden light to retreat. Yi Tian's eyes once again coagulated, and a magic power hit the hovering golden ball. The golden light was stronger than before, which slightly broke back some clouds. Master, what should we do? The Shin crack also seemed to see the power of the whole Ghost Imperial, can't help but some worry ground ask away. Don't worry, as long as you don't live in the sea of blood fantasy, you will have no problem. Once you enter the fantasy, all kinds of attacks will follow, which makes it impossible to prevent. In particular, the longer you stay in the dreamland, the more you will be affected, and you will even lose your mind and become a part of the whole ghost realm.
Yi Tianning said again. Moreover, in the dreamland, there are moving runes. Even if you don't move, you don't know where you will be sent to the array.
In that case, as long as the array is not closed, you will be buried in the vast sea of blood.
Yi Tian's words made the monks of the Xian and Yun families shudder. However, Yi Tian went on to say, Yi is looking for a way to crack it. I believe that a ghost realm can't live me hard. Fortunately, it's timely this time.
If you go to the Xuanjia branch first, I'm afraid the other party will have enough time to expand the ghost domain. At that time, it's even more difficult to crack it.
As soon as Yi Tian's voice fell, it seemed that there was a strange smile of Jia in all directions. Ha ha ha, I can't imagine that you, a little monk in Longmen realm, can understand this ghost realm so well. However, it's futile to understand it again, even if you are trapped. Well, you'd better follow my advice and hand over the antidote method. From now on, you'll go your way and I'll cross my log bridge. You demons of Xuanlingzong are sinister and harm the common people. Today Yi wants to get rid of you demons. It's just a ghost area. What can we do? Yi Tianling snorts, once again a magic hit on the golden ball, making the oppressed golden light grow stronger again.
At the same time, his sourcesight continued to shine through, slowly scanning the dreamland in front of him. It has to be said that the strength of this ghost realm lies in the fact that Yuan Tian's eye can't see through the dreamland even when it shines through. But the only thing that makes Yi Tian feel secure is that Yuan Tian's eye can see the field symbols in the dreamland. In the sea of blood and clouds in the scarlet light, one by one very dazzling.
This kind of field pattern is everywhere. I don't know how many, but I don't know how many. Lei Shu. At a certain moment, Yi Tian's eyes suddenly brightened, and he drank loudly.
In the vast sea of blood, a thick lightning suddenly fell from the sky and split somewhere in the sea of blood.
Click. Lightning is like heaven and earth.
It makes a deafening sound. Where it falls, there is a gap between the sea of blood and dense clouds.
It recovers from the environment and can see the true colors of the sky and the mountains.
However, it was only after counting the time that the narrow gap of the dreamland was filled by the sea of blood and clouds, as if the gap had never disappeared.
Ha ha ha, I can't imagine that you, a little monk in Longmen realm, really know the way to crack the ghost.
What's more, I can't imagine that you can see those field runes, and you can also know the Taoist art of thunder. I can tell you that your way of cracking is completely correct, but it's a pity that your skill is too weak and the recovery ability of the ghost is too strong. It's just a fool's dream to break the ghost with your thunder skill. The flash of lightning, a quiet around, and then again thought of the strange laughter.
Well, I can't do it alone. Don't you see so many people here?
Yi Tianling snorted, and then he looked at Xinchai and others. Old 14, old 15, you are ready to use Lei Shu's skill to chop down according to the position that I said. After hearing the words, Xuanxia and Yunzhong took a look at each other.
Finally, Xuanxia said awkwardly, Master, we don't know the art of Lei Shu. No?
Yi Tian was stunned when he heard the words, but then he remembered that what he practiced was the idea of Sua Wangguan, which was able to send out the Taoist art of thunder attribute. However, the skills of Xuanjia and Yunjia did not have this kind of magical power. 5 elements Taoism refers to metal Taoism, wood Taoism, water Taoism, fire Taoism, and earth Taoism. Most of the cultivation methods have the ability to use the 5 elements of Taoism, but only a few of them can perform other kinds of Taoism besides the 5 elements of Taoism. For a moment, Yi Tian forgot this stubble.
Ha, what's the matter? Are you at a loss?
The voice continued to laugh. If you don't want to die, you still have illusions and want to break the ghost realm.
Now you know how powerful this realm is?
I tell you, if you don't hand over the antidote method earlier and cause some loss to the disciples of our sect, I will ask you to pay back.
No one here will want to go back alive. Xuanxie, Yunzhong, and the monks of Xin and Yun were very ugly.
They also saw that this ghost region was really difficult. If Yi Tian hadn't been here and protected the people with the golden orb magic weapon, they would not have imagined what would have happened now. After all, they all felt extremely dangerous when they were trapped in the ghost realm and faced with the boundless sea of blood.
How's it going? Are you all deaf? Is it true that you don't shed tears when you don't see the coffin?
The voice seemed impatient and hysterical.
Boom!
Xuanxia was very angry in his heart, and he hit out a magic power, regardless of the east, west, north and south, to the Sea of Blood.
However, although the mana is extremely powerful, after it is played, it is like a bullock into the sea.
It does not stir up half a wave, as if it has never been sent out.
Old 14, there is no need to waste mana.
There are no monks of Xianming sect in the whole ghost realm. When they enter the field, they are also affected by the illusion.
Maybe they are still 100 miles away. This kind of attack is useless.
Affected by the mirage, they can't attack their Numenon at all.
Tian shook his head and said,
Well, I don't think you even know these details, but it's useless.
You'd better follow my advice, otherwise, even if you ask me, I won't let you go.
The voice sounded again. The voice seemed to have no emotion, full of indifference.
Tian is cold hum away, just a ghost domain, really think to live?
With that, Tian made a gesture, released a magic weapon cave, hit the rune at the door with a magic power, closed the shield, and yelled, Saint Wing disciples come out. With his shouts, a group of Kunlunxio came out of the room, just 64 people. Originally, there were 96 Kunlun practitioners, but 32 of them had their own waymates. Tian placed them in 32 magic weapon caves, so there were only 64 Kunlun practitioners in this magic weapon cave.
See you, Grandmaster.
The 64 Kunlun practitioners were surprised to see the Sea of Blood and the boundless clouds around them, but they bowed to Tian for the first time.
Tian gently waved his hand and said, Don't be polite. Now we are trapped in a field called the Ghost Field.
The Sea of Blood and clouds around us are illusions.
You need to break many runes in the field to break the field.
To break the runes, you need to use the Thunder attribute Taoist art.
All disciples follow my instructions and send out the Thunder attribute Taoist art to the place I point out. I will obey the orders of my ancestors.
Many Kunlun practitioners agreed in a hurry and began to mobilize their magic power. They were all monks who practiced Sui Wangwen's idea. Naturally, the Taoist art of Thunder attribute could not help them. See, a lot of Kunlun repair already. Tian with a play, a thunderball then launched out, landed in the air somewhere. When the thunderball fell, the 64 Kunlun practitioners made a gesture at the same time. When the 64 Kunlun practitioners came down from the sky, they were transformed into 64 Kunlun practitioners, and the thunder split to the place where the thunderball fell.
Ka!
With a loud bang, a burst of dazzling light broke out at the place where the 64 thunder fell, so bright that people could not open their eyes. After the thunder disappeared, it gradually returned to normal, but where the thunder hit, there was a place within a radius, which was no longer the Sea of Blood and clouds, but the sky and green hills. What makes Tian happy is that as time goes on, there has always been the same as it is now, and there has not been a return to the state of Blood Sea. I didn't expect that you were hiding this power. The voice appeared again in the sky. After finishing this sentence, the elder continued to say, however, these people are not enough. If there is more, maybe it is possible to break the ghost realm.
I will start the endless rune.
Although I pay more, I can kill you, which is not a small harvest. No matter what the other party said, Tian picked his eyebrows and ignored the voice. Instead, he continued to point to some place nearby, chop here. While speaking, another thunderball was sent out and finally landed in the position he pointed to.
Ka! Ka!
Another 64 thunderbolts fell, and the place where the thunderbolt fell immediately became different. The Sea of Blood and clouds disappeared, revealing the sky and green hills.
However, this time is different from the one just now.
After less than 10 breaths, the normal space split by the thunder slowly disappeared again and turned into a sea of blood and clouds.
Master, what's the matter?
Seeing such a situation, Xian Crack looked at the space that had not recovered into a sea of blood before, and asked in surprise. Tian looked slowly into the distance and murmured, the other side used a secret method, called blood sacrifice, to refine the ghost area with blood sacrifice, which can enhance the strength of rune.
This kind of attack can't completely destroy rune. And they are really willing.
The blood sacrifice is not ordinary blood, but the essence blood of the array setter. Every drop of essence blood consumed, the monk's cultivation will be reduced, and it will take a long time to recover. It seems that they have put all their eggs in one basket.
Well, you've seen a lot.
You even know the secret of blood sacrifice.
However, you do see my determination.
As long as I don't die, none of you can escape from this ghost land. Even if I sacrifice one of you, it's worth it for more than 100 of you," said the voice viciously. Yi Tian's lips really realized a sneer. These people can't break the rune lines after your blood sacrifice.
There are still some people in Yi. Don't you believe that if there are too many people, they can't break them? I'm afraid your blood essence will be wasted. Don't be a fool.
You need to break the rune after my blood sacrifice. You need at least twice the power of thunder, or you won't think about it. That voice also sneers to say.
Double the power of thunder?
Yi Tian broke his fingers and calculated, it's 64 people now. If you can double the power of thunder, you should need 60 more people. Originally, there were 32 people of your own. Another 32 people came from Xingyi clan, just 64 people. Yi Tianko said, put the original cave away, and took out a magic weapon cave from Shumi commandment. After getting rid of the prohibition, he said to the inside, the people inside can come out and work. With his voice, 2 friars with wings came out and bowed to Yi Tian together, honoring their ancestors.
What's the situation now? You can ask the same people.
Later, you can also ask them how to work.
Yi Tian didn't explain in detail what had happened.
He simply explained 2 sentences and took out another cave.
If I had known about the trouble, I would have to find them one by one.
I might as well let them live together for a while. Yi Tianxin's belly fei, according to the previous appearance, called out the 2 holy wings in the cave.
Well, I didn't expect that there are many birdmen around you.
However, I still don't believe that there are 2 people in a cave like you, unless you have 32 caves. It's almost impossible. You know, you can't find 32 magic caves in the whole time and spirit realm.
That voice is lighty, then say.
Yi Tian gestures again, is still a magic weapon cave out of thin air.
Time and spiritual realm is time and spiritual realm. I come from what spiritual realm, do you know? Isn't it Lansan Lingyu? Do you think I don't know?
The magic weapon cave in Lansan Lingyu is also a rare treasure.
Even if you kill me, I don't believe you can take out a few. The voice is full of disdain, with sarcasm, looking down on Yi Tian's appearance. Yi Tian didn't give up the manipulation of the golden orb.
From time to time, he played a magic power to make the orb shine more, so as to dispel the sea of blood in Cloud Dreamland oppressed from time to time, and the sound of ghosts crying and wolves howling. At the same time, he constantly took out the magic weapon cave and let out the Kunlun Xiu and Xingyi people who lived in it. They sneered at the voice. One magic weapon cave after another is taken out, and then people are called from it. Those Holy Wing people and Kunlun Xiu are all disciples of Yi Tian, and they call him Grandmaster respectfully, which is very clever. The voice was silent, and there was almost no sound in a short time, but the children of Yun family and Xian family, except those who followed Yi Tian for a long time, were all stunned.
You know, in the Lansan spiritual realm, how sacred and supreme is the existence of the Xingyi people. No one dares to disrespect the Xingyi people easily, let alone hurt them. Now, however, so many holy winged people behave themselves in front of this young monk in Longmen, shouting one by one, which makes everyone feel incredible. Who are you? If you tell me the origin of your teacher, I can let you go. When Yi Tian was taking out the magic weapon cave one by one, the voice suddenly spoke. You're not worthy to ask me about my history. Do you want to let us off? I tell you, the demon of Zuanlingzong, I will set up the ghost realm for you to die. Yi will definitely cut off your roots and never let you continue to harm the world. Yi Tian gritted his teeth and said, with infinite cold in his voice. Yi, I promise to let you go. It's just an equal exchange. Don't think I'm really afraid of you. Even if you have a lot of holy wing people, what can you do? In the Lansang spiritual realm, the Xingyi people can cover the sky, but this is the Luotian spiritual realm. The great friars of the Yupu realm of the Xingyi people can't come from the space channel. Even if you have more monks, can you break through the ghost realm of our sect? Don't think that if there are enough Tiani clan, what can they do if they can play the powerful thunder attribute Taoism?
I can tell you very responsibly that those field runes that I can move are useless even if I can't hit them, no matter how strong the thunder attribute Taoism is.
The voice sneered and came from afar. It was still ethereal and could not be traced. The demon of Xianming sect, he knows this ghost area no less than you.
The field rune can be moved, but to move the field rune to avoid attack, the cost of blood sacrifice is much higher than the cost of restoring the field rune. You only need blood essence to recover field rune, but you need your own blood essence to move field rune to avoid attack.
I'm afraid you Xianming sect can't afford this price.
Even if you consume it, you will also consume your own blood essence.
We have enough time, but do you have enough essential blood?
Tian said in a cold voice, and then with a flick of his right hand, he popped up a thunderball and fell to a place in front of him.
At the same time, he drank thunder attribute Taoist attack.
At the end of the speech, many Kunlun Xiu and Xingyi people who have come out operate their mana at the same time and send out a thunderbolt.
Tian himself is not idle. The same ray of thunder blows at his designated rune.
In addition to the Kunlun Xiu and Xingyi people who have just been released, there are now nearly 100 monks who can attack with the attribute of thunder. Nearly 100 thunders come down from the sky and boom on the field rune. With a loud bang, the field rune suddenly explodes. In the boundless sea of blood, there is a good vacuum of 2 feet. This vacuum zone, connected with the sky above and the green mountains below, seems to be a light coming down from the sky and running through the heaven and the earth, recovering the purity of the bloody world from the sea of blood. And this field pattern is also completely smashed and no longer exists.
Keep on attacking.
Tian knew that he had only made initial progress and was far from breaking the whole ghost realm, so Leiqiu continued to command the Kunlun and Xingyi to attack. Now he only opens a very small part of the ghost realm.
He can't receive the influence of the field in the open space.
But once he gets out of this space that has been restored to pure brightness, he will continue to be in a dreamland, attacked by the field, or lost in the field forever.
Boom! Boom!
With Tian's continuous command, many Kunlun Xiuha and Xingyi clans launched thunder attacks at the same time. One by one field runes were blasted open, more and more Blood Sea Dreamland was broken, and gradually restored to the original space, which has reached more than 10 meters. At this time, Tian gesture move, put away the golden ball, now do not need the blessing of the metal ball, this piece of space has been opened, has enough people on his side. Looking at the space played out by Tian, both Xuanjia and Yunjia friars feel very ashamed. Originally, the monks of Xian and Yun had the highest accomplishments. They were all in the spirit realm, but they were powerless and powerless. To break down part of the field and create a safe space, it really needs only Tian and Longmen realm and those holy winged people who are the highest in Jindan realm, which makes their arrogance from their profound cultivation suffer a blow. Monks only cultivate their accomplishments, and the dangers they can encounter in the process of cultivation cannot be completely solved by virtue of advanced cultivation.
For example, if there was no Tian, what kind of situation they would be in now is beyond imagination.
You little monk of Longmen realm, I'm really looking at you now. You can break so many field runes, but it's impossible to break them all.
Do you know what I'm doing?
While you are breaking, I am still arranging and expanding this ghost realm. I am afraid that you are not destroying as fast as I have arranged.
Hundreds of millions of creatures in Luotian's spirit realm will be killed because you enter this realm. Don't you feel guilty for those who claim to be acting for heaven?
When Tian was still commanding Kunlun Xiu and Xingyi people to destroy the field rune, the voice continued to ring.
Tian knows that this man is just bluffing.
How complicated is the ghost realm, and it takes a lot of time to refine the field runes. He doesn't know how long it took Xianming sect to prepare before he was able to arrange successfully. If he wants to expand the field quickly, it can't be completed in a short time. What he said was nothing more than frustration for these Kunlun Xiuha and Xingyi people, so that they could not see hope.
Never mind, keep bombarding.
Tian yelled, another thunderball hit and landed on another bright red field rune. Each field rune has a size of 1 meter square, and this field rune is no exception. It is a bloody red, in which the rune is twisted and tangled. However, when the thunderball from Tian falls on the rune, the field rune is missing and disappears in the sea of blood.
Boom!
The thunder attack of Kunlun Shoha and Xingyi clan came down from the sky at this time, carrying extremely terrifying power to hit the place where the field rune had just disappeared. Unfortunately, the thunder attack was still slow, and finally did not work. The thunder of heaven and earth lit up a large space around, but when the thunder dissipated, the place just attacked was still a sea of blood, with the wind howling, clouds and fog, and the appearance of ghosts and ghosts.
Obviously, the blow failed. Well, what's up? From now on, your attacks have been in vain. These moving field glyphs are no longer what you can break. What's more, some low-level friars can send out a lot of thunder attribute Taoist arts. I'm afraid that they will be exhausted and can't send out any more thunder attribute attacks before long. At this time, the voice sounded again. Hearing this, Tian laughed. Old devil, are you cheering yourself up? Now Yi and others are in an invincible position. It's only a matter of time to break your ghost domain. Do you think these are the only people who can launch thunder attacks on Yi? Anything else? If so, why not attack? Can you wait until now with your arrogant personality? The voice said darkly. Tian his brow a pick ground to say, Yi Mao is to force you to expend this life essence blood, just rely on this life essence blood to move field rune. How long can you support again? See Yi Mao doesn't squeeze dry you? With a cold voice, Tian continues to take out the magic weapon cave and release the Kunlun Xiu and Xingyi people inside. Originally, even some monks of the Xian family and the Yun family thought that Tian was just bluffing each other. However, seeing that Yi Naivete still had a reserve with wings, they could not help but feel a secret joy. What else? However, if you want to break through the realm of ghosts, it's just wishful thinking. That voice unexpectedly greeny, then gloomy voice says. Tian is indifferent to smile. Yi Mao has plenty of time, but I'm afraid you Xinming sect's disciples who have been poisoned by the corpse and the corpse devil insect can't wait that long? The voice hummed coldly, this is not something you can care about. I have my own way to save their lives. Next, if you really have the ability, break the field. If you can't, after I catch you and search your soul, I will know the way to crack the poison. At that time, don't regret it. I will make your life worse than death. Whether it's the death of fish or the destruction of the net, we'll finally know. Do you think that Xinming sect is good at the way of field and can be invincible in the world? Yi is an expert in breaking the field, and he is the nemesis of Xinming sect. Tian hit each other in his mouth, but his hand was not slow at all. He continued to release a magic weapon cave, releasing Kunlun Xiu and Xingyi people inside. The Kunlun cultivation he brought is the cultivation of the golden elixir realm. After a period of cultivation, he has entered the realm. Most of them can reach the later cultivation of the golden elixir realm, and even more than a dozen people have reached the peak of the golden elixir realm. However, the realm of the Xingyi people is much lower, and the Jindan realm only accounts for a small part. Most of them are Longmen realm, and some of them are Sea-Watching realm. Anyway, what Tian really needs is not only the attack power of their thunder attribute Taoist art, but also the momentum. It's the oppression that these Kunlun practitioners bring to each other after they appear. Soon the remaining 34 Kunlun Shoha and Xingyi people were released by Tian. A total of 128 Kunlun Shoha and Xingyi people stood together, which was quite impressive. Pay attention to the landing point of the Thunderball, launch the thunder attribute attack. Tian whispered a word, and then made a gesture. This time, 2 thunderballs were sent out at the same time. Each thunderball flew in different directions like a meteor and landed in 2 different positions. Almost as soon as the thunderball was settled, 128 Kunlun Xius and Xingyi people took 2 turns to attack the 2 field runes pointed by Tian. Of course, only Tian can see this kind of field pattern. In addition, the person who arranges the field knows the position of the field pattern. Then Tian saw that the 2 bright red field runes he pointed to flashed almost at the same time and floated to the distant sea of blood. The 2 intense thunders were all lost. Haha, what's the matter? It's just a little trick. Can I really let you break this ghost territory? The voice saw that his manipulation broke Tian's attack and couldn't help laughing. Tian is a little smile to spread out the voice, this break field, such as people drinking water,
warm and cold. No, old devil, how much you pay, I know in my heart.
Is there an impulse to vomit blood now? Ye can tell you that it's just an appetizer. Next, I'll give you a big meal.
With that, Tian took out a spirit beast ring, gave it to Xuanxie, and said to him, "You recognize the Lord first." In one of the spaces in the spirit beast ring, there are 16 black insects with long fingers, named Leijua insect. It is a 5th order spirit insect, which can release lightning attacks. After you recognize the Lord, you can manipulate these 16 Leijua insects and obey my command. Listening to Tian's words, Xuanxie happily took over the ring of spirit beast. "Master, your treasures are emerging in endlessly, and there are special spirit pets that emit thunder. I have never seen or heard of them."
Well, today you smell it and see it. Next, you are very lucky to be able to command them to fight. You can recognize the Lord immediately. Tian said with a smile. Xuanxie doesn't talk anymore. He quickly marks the spirit on the spirit beast ring. Then the spirit probes into the ring and finds that there are spirit insects in the separated spaces. However, he quickly finds the 16 black 5th order ley insects described by Tian. Tian has only the cultivation of Longmen realm, so he can't complete the recognition of the 5th level Leijua. However, the mysterious crack is different. He takes out a Leijua, and it doesn't take him long to complete the recognition of the 5th level Leijua. Then, the 2nd. The 3rd. One by one, he imprinted his mind. After some time, Xuanxie finally imprinted all the 16 Leijua insects with his mind and became the spirit insects he could control. These ley insects are very active. Maybe they have been locked up in the spirit beast ring for a long time. They have lived in that narrow space for a long time. As soon as they leave the spirit beast ring, they are all restless and fly around the crack. If it is not for the crack that has been constraining them with gods, I am afraid these 16 ley insects will fly away by themselves. Is there really no other way? How can you play with worms over there? The elder of Shenming sect obviously didn't know Leijua insect. He laughed at this strange insect and began to laugh at it. Tian has been in an invincible position. Naturally, he doesn't mind hitting each other in words. He says with a smile, "Don't look down on these insects. After a while, they may make you dumbfounded. They can play you until you spit blood. I'll wait and see. It's useless to say anything. It depends on the result." The voice hummed coldly, then stopped talking. "Pay attention, don't let the Leijua insect enter the dreamland, or it won't come back." Tian gave a warning. His gesture moved. A thunderball appeared on each of his 5 fingers. He kept jumping and flashing at his fingertips, surrounded by electric light. "Mean." The voice burst out these 2 words. After hearing this, Tian burst out laughing. "Old ghost, do you really have the impulse to vomit blood?" Although both of them spoke very briefly and didn't say it clearly, they knew each other well. When Tian finished his sentence, he made a gesture. 5 thunderballs came out of his hand and flew in 5 different directions, each falling to a scarlet field rune. Boom! Boom! Kunlunxiu, Xingyi and Leijua attacked at almost the same time. However, Kunlunxiu and Xingyi attacked 5 field runes, which were very uniform and had no key targets. But under the control of the mysterious crack, the 16 Leijua insects attacked one of the runes very intensively. The 16 Leijua insects' wings hummed and vibrated, and a very slender, but extremely terrifying power of thunder and lightning came out from their bodies in an instant, as if they were connected with the field rune in an instant. Ka! For a moment, the field rune was like a piece of red ice. Suddenly, it was hit hard, fragmented, and turned into countless pieces. The pieces splashed everywhere, but when they flew out, they quickly atomized and disappeared as red smoke. However, 1 or 2 zhang spaces around the rune became clear from the original appearance of the Sea of Blood, revealing the blue sky and green mountains. Another dreamland was broken and the brightness was restored. Ah! The voice of the great elder of Shenming sect seemed to stay for a while, and then there was no voice. The attack of the Holy Wing and Kunlunxiu had just fallen on the other 4 red runes. However, compared with the attack of the 16 ley insects, the attack of the Shengyi clan and Kunlunxiu was much weaker when they were scattered on the 4 runes.
The 4 red runes only shook a few times under the attack of the Lei attribute Taoist art, but did not break. Naturally, these places are still in the state of fantasy, and they are still a sea of blood with the naked eye.
Why don't you transfer the runes? Do you think attacking 5 runes at the same time can't break anyone? Or do you think it's too expensive to transfer runes? Breaking one of the field runes, Tian doesn't continue to attack, but raises his voice. I didn't expect you to have such spirit insects, but it's not a temporary success to break through the ghost realm with these spirit insects. There was a moment's silence before the sound came back. Wait and see. Tian said. There are 3 thunderballs in his hand again. He bounced forward. As the thunderball fell, the dense lightning attack came.
This time, Tian has passed on the attack plan to Xuanxie and Kunlun practitioners through sound transmission. The attack is divided into 3 groups, 16 lay insects in one group, 128 Kunlun practitioners and Xingyi people in 2 groups, attacking 1 field rune respectively. This time, the great elder of Xianming sect didn't waste his life's blood essence to move those blood color runes.
Instead, he let Tian bombard him at will. Boom!
3 successive noises were made at the same time, and the 3 groups of attacks fell on the 3 bloody runes with a difference of 1 or 2 breath. There was no accident. The 3 runes broke at the same time, and the space for them to recover their original appearance became much larger, and their sight suddenly became clear. Looking at such a fierce attack, the monks of the Xian family and the Cloud family were excited. Some of them could not help but suddenly hit out. They used powerful magic power to fight against the sea of blood at will. It's a pity that their attacks have no effect on the sea of blood and rune, and the dreamland has not changed at all, but they are not willing to attack one after another. After more than 10 breaths, these attacks gradually stopped. It can be said that their attacks are already very intensive. Many of such intensive attacks will definitely fall on the rune. Obviously, this kind of pure mana attack is invalid on the rune. Moreover, some of them didn't believe in this evil. In addition to the mana attack, they also used fire, metal and other attributes of Taoism to attack. But all this was in vain, and had no effect on the glyphs of this ghost realm. Keep on attacking. Tian didn't pay attention to the friars of the Yun family and the Xian family. Seeing that the elder of the Xianming sect didn't follow up, Tian gave a loud drink and moved his fingers again. This time, 4 thunderballs were thrown out. The Kunlun Shouha and Xingyi clans are divided into 2 groups. Each of the 16 Leishui insects is divided into a group of 8 to attack a red field rune. At the beginning, Tian didn't know what the attack power of the thunder bug was. But just now, he saw that 16 thunder bugs were more than enough to attack a field mark, so he gave half of his strength to try. Under this test, Tian was pleasantly surprised. The attack power of the 8 lay insects was extremely strong, which was equivalent to that of 8 Yuan infant monks attacking at the same time. Moreover, lay insects were the kind of special lay insects. The power of thunder and lightning emitted by lay insects was particularly unique, especially more powerful than the Taoist art of lay attributes issued by monks. 8 Leishui insects, under a full blow, the red rune, which was the target of attack, was smashed in an instant, and no longer had the ability to recover. The red color between heaven and earth was reduced a bit, and the blue sky was one of the bright mountains. And Kunlun Xiao and the friars of the Holy Wing clan did the same, and once again they made a great contribution. With the 4 roaring noises, the Qingming space opened up by Tian increased a little. Unexpectedly, Xianming sect didn't respond. The great elder of Xianming sect, who always pays attention to this side and quarrels with Tian from time to time, seems to have disappeared and no longer makes any sound. The Holy Wing people will stop attacking temporarily, and the damage to the runes in the field will be done by Lei Chong. After a little hesitation, Tian suddenly said that he didn't know whether Xianming sect had any backhand. Before, Kunlun Xiao and Xingyi people used a lot of mana to continuously issue a tribute like Taoism. Tian didn't want them to have no power to protect themselves at the critical moment. With Tian's words, those holy winged people in Kunlun Xiao stopped. Tian began to pop up the thunderball continuously, marking the direction. According to Tian's fingerprints, the dark crack manipulated the thunderbug to send out a thunder force, constantly smashing the field symbols selected by Tian, opening up more clear space.
When the main runes nearby were cleared, Tian began to take the people to the depths of the ghost realm, not only to go deep into it, but also to open a channel in the vast sea of blood. Despite the constant stirring of ghosts around, it did not have much impact on these monks. The attacks that can only be felt in the dreamland cannot bring harm to these monks who are outside the dreamland. It's boring to attack field runes for such a long time. Moreover, due to the long-time mine attribute attack, after breaking thousands of red field runes, the 16 thunderbugs obviously lost their mana. At this time, he had already gone deep into the realm of the ghost. He didn't know how far away it was. From all sides, there was a vast sea of blood, boundless and endless. There was only a passage imitating Buddhism, carrying out heaven and earth, seeing the green mountains and blue sky, extending straight from the rear. After the great elder of Xianming sect was silent, he didn't make any sound anymore, as if he had disappeared from heaven and earth. Have a rest. Tian looks at the endless red in front of him, and finally gives an order to the dark crack. Not only does the thunderbug need to recover, but also he continuously sends out thousands of thunderballs. Tian also feels that his mana needs to recover. There is no way, and only the Taoist art of lay attribute can keep his trace in this ghost field from beginning to end. Once other Taoist arts enter the field, they will become a part of the environment, and the dark crack can't be seen at all, and they can't accurately organize the lay insects to attack. Just like a monk, as long as you enter into it, even if several people enter together, no one can see each other. It's like going deep into the sea of blood alone, and there's no contact at all. Even if it's shouting, it doesn't work at all. I'm especially afraid that the transmission runes hidden in the ghost domain don't know how to transfer the monks who enter the field to a Jedi, and it's very difficult to escape from it. Now the Leaf Day order line forbids, he a word, the Shen crack immediately receives Leizhuo insect. With a gesture, Tian took out a porcelain vase from Shu Mi Ring, poured out 4 pills of pills from it, and threw them to Xuanxie, give an average of 16 lay insects, so that they can quickly recover their mana. 8 pills. Xuanxie took the pill and glanced at it. Seeing the crystal clear 8 patterns on the pill, he couldn't help exclaiming. His exclamation immediately attracted people's eyes. Both the monks of the Xian family and the children of the Yun family gathered around to watch, and their eyes were full of amazement. You know, not to mention the 8 elixirs, even the 7 elixirs, which are slightly inferior to the 8 elixirs, are hard to find in the Longsang spiritual realm. How many friars need to exhaust countless resources to get a 7 elixir in order to get one? It is even possible that the appearance of each 8-grade pill will cause a bloodbath among monks, causing endless looting. However, Tian took out 4 pieces of 8-grade pills, and these 4 pieces of 8-grade pills were not given to friars, but only to 16 spirit insects. There was a sense of outrage among people for a moment. Master, are you sure you want to give it to Lei Chong? Deeply aware of Yi Tiandan's attainments, Shencha could not bear to waste such 8-grade pills on a few spirit insects. Holding the 4 8-grade pills, he could not help asking. Of course, it's a pill specially made for spirit insects. It's added with long yuan grass that only spirit insects can bear. I'm afraid monks will change their temperament if they take it. Yi Tian said with a smile. This kind of long yuan grass can increase the fighting desire of the spirit insect or spirit beast, stimulate the potential of the spirit insect or spirit beast, and make them more fearless in the fight of life and death. But this kind of long yuan grass has great disadvantages for monks. It can make monks bloodthirsty and violent. It's really harmful and useless. Xuanxie weighed the 4 8-grade pills with his hand, and his face was distressed. Master, you have added long yuan herb to this precious pill? It's. Yi Tian said with a smile, well, don't worry about it. Let alone 8-grade pills, it's 9-grade pills. As long as there are spiritual materials, Master can also refine them. If you need to refine any elixir, you can prepare the spirit material. I'll refine it for you at any time. I can't do it this time. In the future, Master will refine pills for his disciples to break through the realm of heaven. The rest of the disciples will try their best to break through them. Xian Crack Haha says with a smile. Well, not only you, but also Lao Shiwu. As long as you can reach the peak of Yupu realm, I will refine 9-grade pills for you. There should be a great chance that you can break through to Tiangong realm. Yi Tian nodded. Thank you for your help, master.
Smell speech, old 15 Cloud Zhong joyfully to Yi Tian a hug fist. In fact, they spoke casually, but in the ears of the children of the Xian family and the Yin family, they looked at each other in astonishment.
Everyone knows that there is no great power of heaven in the whole Lansang spiritual realm.
Even the great monks in Yupu realm are few and far between. It's almost the lifelong dream of these monks who want to break through Yupu realm.
As for the heavenly palace, ha ha, they dare not think about it.
However, it is such a legendary realm that Yi Tian can promise to let Xuanxie and Yunzhong have a great chance to break through to this realm.
This is not only an incredible problem, but also a shocking one. I believe that in the Lansang spiritual realm, there is absolutely no great friar in Yupu realm who can say such a thing, because if they have such ability, those great friars in Yupu realm can naturally break through first, but they don't. However, Yi Tian is just a monk in Longmen realm.
He dares to make such a promise.
Xuanxie and Yunzhong, who are in the realm of transforming God, believe it.
For a moment, those monks in Xuanjia and Yunjia's realm of transforming God are very confused and feel strange to the world. During the conversation, Yi Tian, who had been talking and laughing, suddenly set his eyes and showed a dignified color on his face.
Master, what's the matter?
Seeing this, Xuanxie and Yunzhong follow Yi Tian's eyes, but what they see is still boundless sea of blood and clouds, which is no different from the previous scenery. Yi Tian's right hand gently raised, indicating that they would not speak. He was still looking at the distance with bright eyes. Under Yuan Tian's eyes, what he saw was naturally different from what Xuanxie and Yunzhong saw. Blood sea and cloud, one in the bottom, one in the top, the middle of the dividing line is very clear. But at this time, the sea of blood is still rough, without any change, but there is a vision in the thick clouds. In the dark clouds, a little red light suddenly appeared. At first, there were only 1 or 2 red lights. With the push of time, the number of red lights increased rapidly to 7 or 8 or more than 10, as if they suddenly penetrated from the thick clouds. At the beginning, it was still fuzzy and dense red.
Gradually, those red lights began to become bright, as if they were lanterns. From the cloudy sky ahead,
Yi Tian closed the source eye and observed with the naked eye, but those red lights suddenly disappeared. When he started the source eye again, those red lights were still there. Up to now, Yi Tian has been fully able to determine that those red lights are definitely not illusions, but an unknown danger.
After the red light appeared, it didn't move.
It just kept flashing in place, and the color became darker. With the increase of the red light, it was very strange in the clouds. Then, an extremely dangerous breath came, which made Yi Tian shiver.
Master, it's not right.
Xuanxie also felt this dangerous smell, but he couldn't see those red light spots with his naked eye, and could not help worrying.
I know what it is. It's the soul of Blood Evil King. Yi Tian's eyes are more and more dignified.
At a moment, he suddenly said,
Blood Evil King soul? Xuanxie obviously knew what Yi Tian said.
When Yi Tian's voice just fell, he exclaimed and asked, how many are there?
At least 100.
Yi Tian said with a gesture and released a magic cave. All the people of Xingyi have entered the magic cave. With his words, many holy winged people without saying a word flew into the cave. Yi Tian didn't even have time to let them return to their original cave, so he put them away together.
Ha ha ha. You know you're scared? Let me tell you, you have successfully angered me. These blood evil spirits are for your funeral. Now that you know the soul of the Blood Ghost King, you should be aware of the power of the Blood Ghost King. Unfortunately, the accumulation of Xianming's sect for countless generations has been wasted on you insignificant characters. I am also ashamed of the Patriarch. However, it's your destiny to die in the hands of the soul of the Blood Evil King. That voice suddenly rang out again. The voice is extremely arrogant. Shifu, what is the ghost of Blood Ghost? The rest of the people saw that Yi Tian and Xuanxie were so dignified. Although they were full of doubts, they didn't dare to break in at will when the owner was here. But Yunzhong didn't have so many taboos and asked in a hurry. Yi Tian didn't pay attention to Yunzhong. All his mind was on the bright red light.
Xuanxie looked at Yi Tian and felt it necessary to explain the situation to the public. So he explained, the soul of King Xuexia is an extremely powerful soul, which has extremely strong fighting power, and has no self-consciousness and is fearless of death. Most of the dead souls of the blood ghost were high-level monks. They used extremely insidious secret methods to extract their souls. After long-term sacrifice of the blood ghost, the souls devour each other. Only those souls that can survive after many times of devouring can be called the king soul of the blood ghost.
Ordinary mana attack has no effect on this kind of soul. This is what I know in an ancient book collected by the Xian family. That's all I know. Can only thunder attribute Taoist art deal with this kind of blood evil spirit?
Yun Zhong said with a deep heart that the magic attack mentioned by Xian Crack had no effect on this kind of soul body, so he felt a little tricky. In ordinary times, it's very difficult to deal with the blood ghost. In the realm of the ghost, the blood ghost king's soul is even more powerful, and its power has a great increase. The ordinary thunder attribute Taoist art does not pose a great threat to the blood ghost king's soul.
Moreover, according to my observation just now, these blood ghosts have some special features. The total number of them is 108, which seems to be forming some kind of killing array.
When Yi Tian saw that the explanation was not complete, he added casually,
I can't imagine that you know a lot about the spirit of blood evil king. It's possible that the spirit of blood evil king is forming a battle. However, that's it.
Next, you will pay a heavy price for your previous arrogance.
Xuanmingsong is not without the ability to kill you.
It's just that he doesn't want to pay too much for goods like you. Since you are determined to die, I'm just what you want. The voice is extremely arrogant to finish, and then Jiejia's strange smile. This kind of laughter makes people feel creepy. I don't believe that you can't kill the blood ghost. At this time, Xianmeng heard the arrogant voice of the great elder of Xianming sect. He gave a roar and made a gesture. A half-immortal soldier's flying sword came out of his hand and cut it blindly into the cloud. Because he could not see the blood ghost with his naked eyes, this blow was a bit of anger. Unexpectedly, the flying sword went into the cloud above the sea of blood. Suddenly, it flickered a few times and disappeared. However, Xuanming's face changed, and he lost the connection with the flying sword. No, the ghost domain is very powerful in suppressing the divine thoughts, and it can't extend far away. This is also the reason why Yi didn't use the golden bead to go deeper before. See this situation, Yi Tian quickly stopped, also want to release the Xianmeng of flying sword.
Damn!
It's a pity for my half-immortal soldier flying sword. Xianmeng said with hatred, and stopped the attack.
Master, can you quit the whole ghost realm? Xian Crack ponders to ask away.
However, Yi Tian shook his head when he heard the words, in the realm of the ghost, retreat means advance, so it doesn't matter whether advance or retreat. If you don't break the realm of the ghost, you will be lost in this dreamland forever. Originally, with the help of Lei Lei Chong, we could completely break the ghost realm.
It's just a matter of time. But now it's obvious that Xianming's sect won't give us this time.
How powerful are those blood evil spirits?
Since the mana attack is invalid, are we waiting to die? When Yi Tian said this, Yun Zhong asked anxiously.
Even the Xian family and other monks of the Yun family also looked at Yi Tian. Things are often so strange. Many times people's consciousness changes are completed unconsciously. At the beginning, in the eyes of many people, Yi Tian is just a monk in Longmen realm with a low level. There is nothing special about him. When he showed more shocking side, those monks of Xuanjia and Yunjia, who are not familiar with Yi Tian, have separated Yi Tian from the ordinary monks of Longmojing. Trapped in the ghost field, thanks to Yi Tian's timely action, these people are not lost in the vast sea of blood in the ghost field, and then they rely on Yi Tian for several times, so that they can persist until now. In this way, unconsciously, Yi Tian with his own ability to achieve the status of the gorgeous turn, become the backbone of the hearts of the people. It seems that at this time, also can only rely on Yi Tian. Smell speech, Yi Tian slightly shook his head, sit and wait to die certainly won't, defend these blood evil spirit king soul, Yi Mao has enough assurance, what I consider is how to break these blood evil spirit dead soul. After listening to Yi Tian's words, many monks of Washenjing, including Xuanxiet and Yunzhong, let out a long breath.
As long as they can prevent those blood evil spirits, it's not a big problem. It's a big problem to find a way to solve them. Xianmeng was very happy.
At this time, after listening to Yi Tian's words, his face showed a look of regret. These blood ghost king souls are not so powerful. Hee, I don't need to lose a half-immortal soldier flying sword.
Just try to deal with it slowly. Yi Tian took a look at Xianmeng and said, Xianmeng, maybe you don't know enough about the spirit of blood evil king. Do you know how much it costs to refine these blood evil king spirits?
It needs a lot of precious materials, including spiritual materials and all kinds of blood essence. It also needs refiners to consume their own blood essence, and it needs countless time to cultivate. In a word, the spirits of monks who have not reached the realm of transforming the spirit are not even qualified to be refined into ordinary blood ghost spirits. However, these blood ghost king spirits are the existence that constantly devours other blood ghost spirits and eventually remains, and their attack power is far more than that of ordinary monks in transforming the spirit. It's just that the biggest killer of this kind of blood evil king soul is the thunder attribute Taoist art, and there are a lot of people who can use the thunder attribute Taoist art here.
Don't think that they are afraid. We didn't attack. You can't see that those blood evil spirits are devouring other spirits in the ghost realm, strengthening their own strength, and cultivating themselves through the yin qi in the sea of blood. It's just that this kind of bloody ghost is very powerful, but once it's used, because it's invaded by the external yang qi, there will be a great loss of combat effectiveness. I'm afraid it will take 100 years to recover to the present level, and it will cost a lot of money. This is also the reason why Zuanmingzong didn't take out these blood spirits until now. According to Ye's estimation, these blood evil spirits should be the last card of Xianming sect. Listen to Yi Tian say so. At the moment of Xuanmeng's murmur, the ethereal voice of the great elder of Xianming sect appears again. Boy, you are very good. It's true that he can understand the blood ghost so clearly. It's really the last card of Xianming sect, but so what? Although you have good knowledge, don't be too arrogant. You keep saying that you can be safe for the time being. I really want to see how you can guard against my bloody ghost. Now, to tell you the truth, those poisoned disciples of our sect have been completely controlled and will not fight each other anymore. Moreover, the elders of our sect have used the secret method to delay the attack of the corpse devil worm, even if they persist for 3 or 2 months. With this time, my blood evil spirit is enough to abolish all of you. At that time, I will search for the soul to get the method of detoxification. Besides, there are not many people like you. If you refine into blood ghost, erase your consciousness and let you kill each other, I'm very interested to know who among you will become blood ghost king. With these words, the elder of Xianming sect burst into laughter. After hearing this, the monks of the Xian family and the Yun family suddenly changed color on their faces, but they were awed in their hearts. Although they didn't see the blood ghost king's hand, and they didn't know what kind of attack ability they would have, it must be very good to see the great elder of Xianming sect so confident. Let's see if the fish died or the net broke. Yi Tianling snorted, waved to Xuanxie and others, and said in a deep voice, "Follow me, all of you." With the voice, Yi Tian's body moves to fall. Xuanxie, Yunzhong and others dare not neglect it. They follow Yi Tian's body to leave the sky and quickly fall to a mountain on the ground. Don't think you can get away from the environment of the ghost realm by virtue of the mountain terrain. As long as you go deep into it, you will still be in the vast sea of blood, and there is no place to refer to. Looking at some friars trying to explore the edge of this pure land, Yi Tian suddenly gave a loud drink. The monks were startled. They quickly stepped back and left the edge of the sea of blood. If Yi Tian didn't stop in time, they would really go to the ground and enter the sea of blood by virtue of the mountain to see what was going on. They thought, after all, the dreamland is a dreamland. If you close your eyes, the sea of blood will not exist. Although the mind cannot explore further places, it may be able to find a way to live by grasping the terrain. Looking at the monks who obediently returned to the safe area, Yi Tian fixed his eyes on the sky. Just for a moment, the red light in the sky seemed to grow to a certain degree, and the flashing speed was also faster. Obviously, by absorbing the souls in the ghost area, their own strength was rapidly enhanced. It's just that there are no more changes in those red lights at the moment. It seems that they have to continue to absorb the souls in the field, so as to enhance their resistance to the thunder attribute Taoist art. Master, what can I do? Does Master's method have anything to do with the terrain?
The Xian crack that falls on a big stone asks away unidentifiedly.
Of course it does.
Tian said mysteriously with a smile, and then with a little concentration, a Shumi ring appeared out of thin air in his hand, and threw it to Xuanxie. Old 14, take out the things inside.
Xuanxie takes over Shumi precepts and immediately marks his mind. Then Shenyan goes into it and starts to check.
When he sees the things inside, he can't help but be stunned and looks up at Tian. His eyes are full of inquiry.
He knows that Tian has a lot of Shumi precepts. Is it wrong for him?
After all, there may be some deviation if he wants to take out the one he wants from so many Shumi precepts. Seeing this expression, the children of the Xian family and the Yun family are more curious and eager to know what is in Shumi commandment.
Tian never forgets it now.
Let alone thousands of Shumi precepts, even tens of thousands of them, he can clearly remember what was in each of them.
There are no two leaves that are exactly the same in the world. Those Shumi precepts are different from each other.
They are very different from each other. They can't be compared with the leaves at all. What's more, Tian once challenged the strongest brain.
Seeing the expression of Xian crack, he couldn't help laughing and said, "What's the matter? Can't you get it out?"
That's right, old 14.
Don't sell here.
Master asked you to take it out, you should take it quickly, or I will take it out for you. This is Yunzhong finally can't bear to say. Anyway, Xuanxie is his uncle, although he calls old 14, seems to be the same generation, but he has consciously omitted the word elder martial brother, and his tone is almost the same as that of Tian. Therefore, I have no scruples about talking with Xuanxie.
I can say whatever I think. It's just a stone. If there's anything I can't take, I'll take it out now.
Although Yunzhong didn't mean to snatch Shumi Jie, Xianxia subconsciously hit aside.
This son-in-law was quite interesting.
Then, the mysterious mind locked on the big black stone in Shumi commandment, and took it out as soon as he used his magic power. When everyone thought that they would see the mysterious stone in Shumi ring immediately, they saw the mysterious crack, but suddenly their mouth cracked, and a very unexpected expression appeared on their face.
Old 14, you can't really hold it, can you?
Seeing this situation, Yunzhong also said with some surprise that he had already guessed a few points from the expression of Xuanxie just now. Carelessly, the stone is really heavy.
Xuanxie doesn't have any sophistry. He mumbles.
This time, he once again locks the big black stone in Shumi commandment. This time, he uses all his strength, and finally a black stone the size of a house appears out of thin air, and then suddenly falls to the ground.
Boom! A huge noise suddenly came out. The big black stone didn't fall down normally.
It was more like a meteorite flying from the sky. Not only the smoke and dust were everywhere, but also the trees on the mountain and the big stones on the ground were smashed and collapsed by this black stone, and fell into a big part of the mountain. This kind of momentum surprised all the people present, from which we can see how heavy the stone is.
This stone.
Not only that, but soon everyone felt the strangeness of the big black stone. When they instinctively wanted to get close to the big black stone and watch it carefully, they felt that their actions were not as free as before, and their whole bodies seemed to become heavy.
Every step took a lot of effort. How can this big rock emit gravity field? Xuanxie asked in surprise. He had seen a lot of things.
Although he didn't know what stone it was, he quickly found out the secret.
Xianin stone?
No, it looks like Xianin stone, but not Xianin stone. Yunzhong also frowned and pondered.
He knew that Xuanyu was tracking Tian.
He also knew that Xuanyu was tracking Tian with Xianin stone. At that time, this kind of Xianin stone, which can play a tracking role, was once sold to 10,000 pieces of fairy jade, which caused quite a stir in the Lansang spiritual realm.
Of course, it's not Xianin stone. The name of this stone should be Xianyang stone. It really has its own gravity field.
With this stone, we can defend those blood evil spirits. Tian stroked the big black stone and said that this big black stone was naturally the mysterious stone he got from the secret library in the great wilderness spiritual realm. This was the first time that he had let this stone see the sky since he left the great wilderness spiritual realm. Looking at the people's thoughtful expression, Tian continued, "Why can we say that with this stone, we can defend the spirit of the King of Blood Evil.
This should start from the attack way of the spirit of the King of Blood Evil.
The soul of the King of Blood Evil is not attacked by sound or by magic power. The soul of the King of Blood Evil refined by secret method is attacked by the spirit of the enemy, which is called soul attack. It's impossible to defend against the divine attack, especially the divine attack from the soul of Blood Evil King. What's more, he used the essence of the soul of the Blood Ghost King as an offensive weapon. Once he launched an attack, he would easily enter the monk's head. Once the attack was completed, the successful soul of the Blood Ghost King would disintegrate and disappear. Compared with this kind of sacrifice, it's much more expensive than the one that once used, becomes weak due to the invasion of yang qi and needs to be nurtured for 100 years to recover. This time, we can see that Xuanmingzong really put all his eggs in one basket. Originally, he had such a card. If he didn't give it away, he would have more deterrent power in the future. It is precisely because of the ontological attack, which is also equivalent to the same death. If the spirit of the King of Blood Evil wants to attack us, it must pass through the gravity field formed by the Shenyang stone. Because the spirit of the King of Blood Evil has already formed itself, rather than a pure soul, it must be affected by the gravity field. The essence of the soul of the Blood Evil King is different from that of the friars, which is more influenced by the gravity field. Therefore, once you enter the gravity field, you will move slowly, such as walking in the mud, so that you will have enough time to use the thunder attribute Taoist art to blow his mother. Said here, Yi Tian looked at the top of the Shen crack hovering in the uncertain 16 lay insects, nodded slightly and said, these lay insects should be recovered by 7 or 8 out of 10, and there is no problem to send out the lay attribute attack again. Because of the influence of the gravity field, the movement of the 5th order Leishmaniasis has become greatly delayed.
Boy, you should be listening to me? Do you think that with this broken stone, you can really stop the spirit of Blood Evil King?
I'm really surprised that you can take out such a stone, but this stone alone is not enough.
Do you think this can make me give up the idea of launching an attack with Blood Ghost?
What a big joke it seems that the great elder of Xianming sect has been observing the movement here. When Yi Tian finished explaining, he made an ethereal voice again. There is a sneer on Yi Tian's lips.
He doesn't say anything. He just caresses the dark stone and caresses it repeatedly.
No one noticed that there was a small area where his fingers touched, which was slightly different from other places in color. Other places were all dark and black, but here it was black with a little gold, forming the color of dark gold. This part, which Yi Tian remembers very clearly, is caused by the color change when he used a Xianyin stone to contact with this big black stone. If only the color has changed, it doesn't necessarily make Yi Tian pay so much attention at this time. He stroked here repeatedly because he realized that the resistance of the finger here is greater, which is obviously different from other places in Dashi.
And through the observation of Yuan Tianian, there is a shocking discovery. The invisible thin lines emanating from other places of Dashi, though extremely dense, are all black. Only the small part of the color, not only the lines are thicker than the black thin lines, but also the color is dark gold. And the golden line is bigger than the black line. Through the touch on his hand and the observation of Yuan Tian, Yi Tian came to the conclusion that although he still does not know what the material of this black stone is, Shenyang stone is just his guess, but it is obvious that Xianyin stone will be more useful after it changes with this black stone. Yi Tian, who originally wanted to wait for a good search before dealing with it, made a major decision after repeatedly touching the dark golden spots. He gestured slowly, and a Xiumi ring appeared in his hand again. Then he took out a black stone the size of a fist and pasted it slowly to the dark gold spot on the big stone. It's not that he doesn't want to finish this action quickly, but the gravity field generated by this big black stone has a great constraint on Yi Tian's action. This is because he has to do his best to reach the present level. If he is the same as before, his speed will be much slower than now. When the fist-sized Xianyin stone is pasted on the dark golden spot, the color of the dark Xianyin stone is rapidly changing from pitch black to dark, and then from dark to light black. Then the black becomes lighter and lighter, and gradually becomes gray, and finally the gray completely fades away, so a dark stone becomes a pure white stone. If they didn't see it with their own eyes, they would not believe that such a magical change would happen. They didn't know what Yi Tian was going to do, so they had to wait and see. 10,000 pieces of fairy jade are gone.
One of the children of the Xian family, like Yun Zhong, knew about the Xianin stone. When he saw that the Xianin stone had turned into such a shape, he could not help saying with regret that his eyes were tender.
Yi Tian didn't pay attention to this person.
He felt the golden spot again.
The gravity field here seems to be stronger than before.
At the moment, he didn't think much about it anymore, and his gesture moved again. This time, he took out a big Xianin stone, which was the size of a table. Yi Tian had almost exhausted himself with such a large Xianin stone.
The weight of Xianin stone is not so heavy.
He put this Xianin stone on top of the mysterious big black stone, and let the mysterious black stone absorb the energy of Xianin stone. Yi Tian moved again and took out pieces of Xianin stone continuously, and put them all on the black stone.
This piece of jade is worth more than 1 million yuan. 6 or 700,000. This piece is also worth 800,000 fairy jade. With Yi Tian's action, the monk of Xuanzhe's spirit-transforming realm murmured in his mouth.
Yi Tian didn't pay attention to other people's reaction, but put all his energy on Xianyang stone to absorb the energy of Xianin stone and those blood-evil spirits in the sky. As Yi Tian took out more and more Xianin stone, Xianyang stone absorbed more and more energy from Xianin stone. The original dark Xianyang stone began to change. All the parts that absorbed the energy of Xianin stone began to change to dark gold. Moreover, the binding force produced by the flying dark gold thin line became greater and greater, which made the power of gravity field more and more powerful.
I dare to make a mystery about it.
At a certain moment, the elder of Xianming sect, who had been silent for a long time, suddenly gave a shout. With his cry, the red light ball which was originally flickering in the sky began to move quickly to this side. Old 14th, get ready to use the thunderbug to bombard. Yi Tian yelled and dodged to the back of Xianyang stone. Then he made a gesture. A wooden sword appeared in his hand and handed it to Yun Zhong. He quickly said, Old 15, recognize the Lord. This sword can attack with thunder attribute and has great power.
It's a hidden card for me. This round depends on how you play it. Hearing the words, Yun Zhong was overjoyed.
He quickly took the wooden sword and recognized the Lord. He looked at more than 100 red lights in the sky. With the red light getting closer and closer, people can already see that those red lights are ferocious faces with bloody evil spirit. People will feel dazzled if they stare at them for a long time. Up to now, from the visual sense, people can also feel the horror of the blood evil spirit. 108 red faces and bright lights formed a strange and complex formation. The speed was faster and faster. When Yi Tian was still a mile or two away, he could hear the sound of those bright lights. Although Yi Tian was prepared, and he was covered with Tianshan to protect his body, he didn't really fight with the ghost of Shueisha King after all. He didn't really judge the fighting power of these ghost faces. With a move of his mind, he used the Taoist art of thunder attribute, and immediately his whole body was covered with thunder. The electric arc was bright and flickering, which kept him tightly inside, just like a lightning man.
Even so, Yi Tian didn't feel at ease.
His left hand held a small moving sign in a flash, and his right hand was ready to move at any time.
However, his mind almost simultaneously locked Dun Tiansuo in Shumi commandment and made many preparations. He believed that with 16 lay insects and the Millennium Lei Tao wooden sword in Yun Zhong's hands, supplemented by the gravity field of Xianyang stone, the safety of those monks who transformed the divine realm was absolutely no problem. But among all the people, their own realm is the lowest, and it's not a bit low. If the great elder of Xianming sect makes a decision to get rid of himself, I'm afraid that even if Xuanxie and Yunzhong want to save themselves, they may not have time. Therefore, the necessary preparations must be made. The speed of 100 blood evil spirits is very fast. A distance of 1 or 2 miles is just around the corner.
When they are about to reach the Qingming area where Yi Tian is, the 108 red ghost faces are suddenly red, and suddenly a red line appears between them, connecting all the red ghost faces.
And then the light seemed to come down as a whole.
Well, you're dead. In this case, the elder of Xianming sect, who did not know where he was, suddenly laughed strangely. Hearing this voice, Yi Tian could already think of the ferocity and terror of the elder's face at this time.
Pa!
Yi Tian pastes a Xianin stone on Xianyang stone to replace the stone that has become Snow White. Almost at the same time, the 108 blood evil spirits were within 500 meters of Yi Tian's location, but their speed was obviously slowing down, but it was not slow. 400 meters, 300 meters, 200 meters. As they get closer and closer to Xianyang Stone, their speed begins to slow down.
But these blood evil spirits did not stop to move closer to Yi Tian, and the distance between them was still shrinking.
Attack at a certain moment, when the soul of the bloody ghost king in front of him is within 100 meters of Yi Tian and others, and he enters a clear space without illusion. Yi Tian suddenly drinks.
Boom! Ka!
With Yi Tian's cheering, 16 lay insects and the Millennium Peach lay sword in Yunzhong's hand launched a terrorist attack at the same time. 16 thin but powerful thunderbolts were sent out from lay insects at the same time, and directly blasted on the whole blood evil king soul. But Yunzhong's 1,000-year peach tree thunder sword, under his full urging, a purple shining light flashed out, almost without any time transmission, directly split on the bloody king's soul. The monk's movement speed is limited in the gravity field of Xianyang Stone, and the blood ghost king's soul is also limited in the rain, but the thunder is not limited. Because thunder is not a substance, but a nihilistic energy. The countless dark golden filaments sent out by Xianyang Stone are just like tentacles. They can't do anything about the power of thunder. Boom! 17 thunderbolt attacks hit the blood ghost king's soul at the same time, breaking out a dazzling light. The blood ghost king's soul wanted to avoid these terrorist attacks in the gravity field, but because of the limited action, it dodged very slowly. But those thunder as the speed does not reduce to fall on the blood evil king's soul body. After the light disappears, Yi Tian see the situation after this battle, can't help but cry a pity. Such a public attack, but failed to kill the bloody ghost, but under this attack, the bloody ghost's red face is much smaller. Yi Tian compared and judged that it was nearly a third smaller than before. Sure enough, Yi Tian knows that this way of forming an array can use the energy of other blood evil spirits to attack and defend. They are related to each other. It is impossible to kill any blood evil spirits at one stroke. Boy, I can hurt my bloody ghost. It seems that you really have a bit of a knack. Your sword. At this time, the great elder of Xianming sect whispered, and his words were not finished. Boom again, 16 lay insects and Yunzhong's 1,000-year-old peach tree lay sword shot again. Before other blood evil spirits attacked, they struck the injured blood evil spirits with another terrible blow. Then, Yunzhong and Xin Crack didn't stop, they sent out the third strong attack one after another. The bloody ghost retreated less than 3 feet, and the third attack had already arrived. The bloody ghost, which had already turned into a group of red light under the second attack, exploded, turned into countless red light spots, and finally disappeared in the invisible. Who? Yi Tian breathes out a long breath and kills the whole blood ghost king soul. Even if the blood ghost king soul's mutual echo array is broken, their overall combat effectiveness will be reduced, and they will take better measures to break each one. I'm going to kill you. How can I destroy my bloody ghost? In the sky came the roar of the great elder of Xianming sect. But Yi Tian doesn't care. He is still using the technique of transmitting sound to direct Xuanxie and Yunzhong to attack other blood evil spirits again. If you lose the linkage array, the speed of those blood evil spirits will decrease slightly, especially in the gravity field of Xianyang Stone. They are as slow as if they are in the mire. This gives Xuanxie and Yunzhong a good chance to attack. 16 Leiha and Millennium Tamu Leiha swords attack at the same time. They hit the same bloody king's soul twice in succession, and then they killed another one. However, Yi Tian, who is full of electric light, does not stop for a moment. Xianyang Stone is now covered with Xianin Stone. When a certain Xianin Stone becomes pure white, it is immediately replaced by Yi Tian and replaced with a new Xianin Stone, which continues to provide energy and strengthen the gravity field power of Xianyang Stone. As Xianyang Stone devours the energy of Xianin Stone, the black on the stone body gradually decreases, and it begins to transit to dark gold in a large area. The overall situation has been decided. Seeing that the spirits of the bloody king were struggling in the gravity field, Yi Tian was relieved, and even his thunder protection was removed. The most terrifying thing about the spirit of blood evil king is the speed like lightning and the penetrating ability. Even the monks in the spirit world can't resist that speed and penetrating ability. Now they are as fast as turtles, not to mention the monks who transform the divine realm.
Even Yi Tian has enough ability to protect himself. At least we can't fight, we can avoid it.
However, 16 lay insects in Yun Zhong's Millennium Peach lay sword aim at one target at the same time and attack together. Every 2 times, they can kill a blood evil king soul. The elder of Shen Ming's sect didn't make any more noise, but he could see that the residual blood ghost king soul had turned around, gave up this fierce attack, and began to escape away from the gravity field. But when they came in, the gravity field of Shenyang stone was not so strong. During this period, by absorbing the energy of Shenyang stone, the gravity field has been greatly improved. Not only the intensity of the gravity field has increased, but also the coverage of the gravity field has expanded a lot. If they want to escape the coverage of the gravity field, they need more time. Yi Tian takes out a large number of Shenyang stones from Shu Mi Ring, waves Shenmeng and Xianjun, calls them over, and tells them to continue to take care of the energy absorption of Shenyang stone and replace it in time. Then he himself took out the magic cave and called out all the 128 Kunlun Xiu and Xingyi people. When dealing with the soul of Shueisha King before, Yi Tian couldn't understand the killing power of Shueisha King's soul for a moment because of the low level of Kunlun Xiu and Xingyi people, so he put them all away. At this time, the danger has been temporarily relieved, and Yi Tian naturally wants to use them. However, Yi Tian didn't command them to attack the Blood King's soul, but kept popping up thunderballs to let these people attack the blood-red runes in the distance. Once those blood evil spirits escape into the sea of blood illusion, even if they are still in the shadow of Shenyang stone gravity field, no matter how slow they are affected by the power of gravity field, the attack of Lei insect and Lei sword of peach tree will be completely ineffective. Yi Tian chose the latter after weighing the 2 options of directly attacking the soul of blood evil king and expanding the attack area. Boom! Boom! In accordance with Yi Tian's guidance, Kunlun Xiuhai Xingyi people skillfully launched a Taoist attack of thunder attribute, and began to bombard the field runes designated by Yi Tian. Xianjun, Xianmeng. At a certain moment, Yi Tian sent out 3 thunderballs in succession, and then yelled loudly. Master Yi. Xianjun and Xianmeng look a shock, quickly respond. Lift up the Shenyang stone and keep them in the center of the gravity field all the time. Yi Tianxian orders. I understand. Xianjun and Xianmeng agreed, and each of them used their magic power to slowly lift the Shenyang stone the size of the house, and step by step slowly approached the retreating souls of Shueisha King. With the approaching of Shenyang stone, the soul of Shueisha King, who had been separated from the center of gravity field, became closer and closer to the center of gravity field, and its action became more and more slow. Good idea. Xuanxie is in a good mood and praises. If Yi Tian expands a larger Qingming space over there, and the Shenyang stone, which releases the gravity field, always follows these blood evil spirits, then they will have to be beaten passively. After the Shenyang stone was repositioned, other monks in the spirit realm sent the Shenyang stone away from the Shenyang stone again, and continued to provide energy for the Shenyang stone. Boom! Boom! Thunder Bug and Millennium Peach would sword always launch thunder attack, and fall on those blood evil spirits again and again. Every 2 joint attacks, 1 blood evil spirit is destroyed by thunder attack. It seems that today we have to make a fish out of the net. This time, the elder of Shenming's sect didn't get angry, but his voice was more gloomy. At the next moment, his purpose was clear. Those bloody king souls who wanted to escape from the gravity field gave up their escape, but suddenly turned their direction and began to fly slowly to these monks in the field, but the speed was extremely slow. Since you come back to die, Yi will help you. Yi Tianling snorted, and then cried out, all the holy wing people, give up attacking the rune pattern of the field, and attack the soul of the bloody ghost king. With an order, Yi Tianbu is not idle. He and those Kunlun Xiuhua holy wing people begin to join hands to send out the thunder attribute Taoist art to bombard those blood evil spirits. The attack power of the thunder Taoist art of Kunlun Xiuhua and Xingyi people is far less than that of Leichong, and even less than that of Yunzhong's 1,000-year-old peach tree Leishu sword. However, they are better than many people. Yi Tian also helps them. These people join hands to attack the soul of Shueisha King, and they can kill one with only 2 attacks. In this way, in Qingming space, the sound of thunder broke out intensively, resounding through this part of the world. Where the thunder fell, there were small red lights splashing from time to time, and the blood evil spirits disappeared from the original place. There are fewer and fewer blood evil spirits in the sky, from more than 100 at the beginning to more than 90, and then to more than 80. At this time of fighting, although there are still many red faces, there are still 10. The actual number is only about 70. Nearly 30% of the Blood Ghost King's souls have been killed.
And there are still dense thunder falling, and there are still bloody spirits killed in the dense thunder. The holy wingers who are overused, step down and recover their mana.
After a few more attacks, Tian sees that some people are unable to perform the Taoist art of thunder attribute, so he gives an order. Those people who consume a lot of mana are basically the holy winged people who come from Lansang spirit realm. Their realm is relatively low, especially the thunder attribute Taoist art, which consumes a lot of mana. With their cultivation, they can't do anything to fight against the spirit of Blood Evil King up to now. Hearing Tian's command, more than 20 people immediately stepped back to one side and began to slowly recover their mana with Xianyu. As the attack continued, the soul of the Blood Evil King was still being killed. At the same time, more and more holy winged people in Kunlungxia retreated, and they could no longer perform the thunder attribute Taoist art.
The battle is still going on, and the scene is more and more hot.
After a while, more than 50 blood evil spirits are left, and there are only 70 or 80 Kunlun practitioners who are still playing the thunder attribute Taoist art.
After each attack, 7 or 8 people retreat.
According to this calculation, at most, there are still people who can launch 10 mine attribute Taoist attacks. Even if everyone can launch 10 mine attribute attacks, they can only kill 4 or 5 blood evil spirits. Because with more and more people retreating, it's impossible to kill a blood evil spirit by 2 concentrated attacks of thunder attribute.
Some blood evil spirits need 3 attacks, while the more powerful blood evil spirits need 4 attacks of thunder attribute. Look at the situation in front of you, Tian thinks to himself in the heart, and then sends out a mana sound to the dark crack. He has found that not only Kunlun Shou's condition is not very good, but also the 16 thunder insects have reached the point of no longer having any magic power. It is estimated that if they fight for a while, they may lose their function and no longer be able to perform the thunder attribute Taoist art. After all, they have been fighting for a long time. Just after Yi Tiangang sent out a message to Xuanxie and was ready to change his strategy, the elder of Xianming sect, who had been silent all along, suddenly said again, "I'm going to fight you today. How about that? Although your attack killed some blood evil spirits, your mana is not endless. Apart from the broken sword, I dare to assert that you will all be arrested in a short time. Even today, all blood evil spirits are here, and I will never let you go." We'll see. Yi Tianling snorts and recruits Xianming, Xianjun and others.
These are the 6 monks who were rescued by Yi Tian from Xuanjia space.
Seeing Yi Tian's greeting, these men flew to Yi Tian with difficulty.
At this time, the gravity field was a little stronger than just now. Even the monks who reached the realm of deification felt it was very difficult to walk.
"What's your order, Master Yi?"
These friars are very respectful to Yi Tian. Even at this time, Yi Tian will hold the ceremony of the younger generation. After all, Yi Tian is the number 1 person in the Xian family. Who dares to be a little disrespectful to Yi Tian? What's more, even without this relationship, Yi Tian's strength in all aspects has been deeply impressed by these monks who always put their eyes above the top. At this time, Yi Tian was also bound by the gravity field, and his action was also very inconvenient. He slowly took some things out of Shumi commandment and told Xianmeng and Xianjun. After listening to Yi Tianfen's instructions, Xianjun and Xianmeng took things in the past, retreated to one side, and mingled with many monks in the spirit realm. While Yi Tian moves here, those Kunlun Shou Xuanxie and Yunzhong are still launching a fierce attack on the remnant spirit of Shuasha King, as if they were crazy and strong at all costs of mana.
After each round of attack, Kunlun practitioners have retreated.
They can no longer release the thunder attribute Taoism. There are also several blood evil spirits killed by ley attribute Daoshu, while the remaining 40 blood evil spirits are fearless to death and slowly approach to many monks in the spiritual realm, trying to make the final attack in this Qingming space. Finally, the thunder bug's attack has reached the limit. After releasing a round of thunder, the 16 thunder bugs collectively exhausted their mana and can no longer participate in the attack.
The remaining Kunlun practitioners are less than 30 people.
These 30 people need to send out 5 or 6 times of thunder attribute Taoism to kill a Blood Ghost King soul. I have to say that these Blood Ghost King souls are really very strong. Among all the attacks, Yun Zhong is the only one who uses the Millennium Peachtree Thunder Sword to still exert his strong power and release thunder all the time. However, it takes 4 times to release thunder to kill a bloody king soul. More than 40 blood evil spirits are slowly approaching the monks in the strong gravity field, while the monks in the spirit realm are slowly retreating. Everyone, there is a kind of self-exploding magic power in the soul of Blood Evil King.
You must not get close to them.
It's a kind of magic power that can hurt both sides. The great elder of Xianming's sect should want to fight for death with this kind of magic power. As Yi Tian retreated slowly, he sent out a message to remind everyone. However, with the retreat of those monks, the space of Qingming was gradually compressed. There was another distance of 4 or 5 feet. They said that there was no way to retreat. Behind them was the vast sea of blood, which was also full of killing opportunities. The thunder produced by Yun Zhong using the Millennium Peachtree Thunder Sword is extremely powerful, but it is impossible to kill all the blood evil spirits in a short time. It seems that the crisis is gradually emerging, and many monks are in a very dangerous situation.
How are you? Why don't you use thunder?
I tell you that the soul of the King of Blood Evil is nothing but external. Even if I lose the soul of the King of Blood Evil, I will also get your soul and refine you into the soul of the King of Blood Evil.
Then seal the space access to the Lansang spiritual realm, and dominate the Luotian spiritual realm.
At that time, you will be a dog of the Xianming sect. I will bite whoever I ask you to, until you die in battle, and you will never be reincarnated. As the friars on Yi Tian's side retreated, the voice of the great elder of Xianming's sect began to be arrogant. He gave a hysterical voice with a strange smile, how rampant he was.
However, before his laughter fell, suddenly a transparent shield appeared out of thin air, whistling to cover more than 30 blood evil spirits. Outside the shield, there were only 8 blood evil spirits a little farther away.
What is this?
The voice of the great elder of Xianming's sect suddenly shrieked and cried out.
Then the spirit of Blood Evil King trapped in the field of the 8-pole array began to launch a crazy attack on the field shield. Yi Tian arranged Xianjun and Xianmeng to set up the 8-pole field. They chose 2 of the 6 monks in the Xian family. They put together the 8 people who set up the field, assigned the location and taught the manipulation methods. These people mixed up in the crowd, and took advantage of the chaos to perform the stealth technique, quietly arrived at the designated location and started the 8-pole array field. It can be said that people are not aware of it, and it is impossible to prevent it. In the field, because the transparent shield insulates the dark gold filaments emitted by Zuanyangshi, they are no longer affected by the gravity field, and their speed returns to the normal state. There are red lights flashing in the shield, and the speed is extremely fast. Unfortunately, their attack methods are only aimed at monks and other living creatures, but they have no effect on the field shield of dead objects. At this time, the focus of Yi Tian's attack changed instantly. The spirit of Blood Evil King trapped in the 8-pole field had no threat, and no one paid any attention to them. All the attack focuses on the 8 blood evil spirits outside the field.
Boom!
More than 20 Kunlun Xiu and Yun Zhong, who could still fight, joined hands to attack one of the blood evil spirits at the same time. They also used all kinds of attacking tactics. At this time, Yi Tian is not idle. He also uses Lei Shu's skill to participate in the attack.
Boom!
With the 2 rounds of thunder attacks, the first Blood Ghost King soul exploded, turned into a little red streamer and disappeared from the world forever. The remaining 7 blood evil spirits began to turn around and fled towards the field, but their movements were extremely slow.
Yi Tian gives a sneer on his lips.
He knows that it must be the order of the great elder of Xianming sect. Since the spirit of Blood Evil King trapped in the field shield can't be protected, the rest of them can be counted as several. However, Yi Tian and Yun Zhong would not give them the chance to escape. The thunder kept on exploding and chasing them. Xianyang Stone's absorption of Xianyin Stone's energy has never stopped. After Xianjun and Xianmeng went to arrange the 8-pole field, the people who took care of the energy absorption were naturally dealt with by other monks. With the absorption of Xianyin Stone's energy, the gold on Xianyang Stone became more and more obvious. Gradually, the whole body became dark gold, and no longer could see the original black color. At the same time, the gravity field released from Xianyang stone is more powerful. Under the action of such strong gravity, it is not easy for those blood evil spirits to escape from the field. Moreover, even if they are far away from the gravity field, Tian can move the Xianyang stone at any time to change the center of gravity, and always put the Blood Ghost King near the center of the gravity field. Unless they have enough ability to escape into the sea of blood before they are killed. But in fact, they have lost their last chance. Boom! With the continuous attack, the only Kunlun Xiu left the battle line and began to adjust his breath to recover his mana. On the whole battlefield, only Yunzhong urged the 1,000-year-old Taomu Leishu sword to kill the spirit of Blood Evil King. This Yi Dao Yu, how about a truce? As long as you release these blood evil spirits and give me the way to detoxify them, I'll be the master. Xianming sect will compensate you 50 million Xianyu. How about that? After another blood evil spirit was killed by Yunzhong, the voice of the great elder of Xianming sect finally rang out again. This time, his voice was much lower. Yi Tian sneered, 50 million Xianyu, this price is not enough. Yi Ma wants you to leave Luo Tian Lingyu forever. Where to come from and where to go back? Well, I've agreed to this. Stop it now. When Yi Tian talks with the great elder of Xianming sect, Yunzhong doesn't relax his pursuit of the spirit of the Blood Evil King. A series of terrible thunders continue to bombard the spirit of the Blood Evil King. We won't stop the pursuit until we have a final agreement. Who makes the situation better than others? Now it's time for Xianming sect to beg us, not for us to be trapped in the realm of ghosts and be chased by hundreds of blood evil spirits. Mr. Yi asked you, can I take a blood oath for everything you just said? Up to now, Yi Tian has completely grasped the initiative, so he is not worried, but said slowly.